Early the next morning, Orochimaru followed the procedure and came to the Hokage's office fully armed. He is the team leader now, so he needs to come here to help the team take on tasks. In fact, as disciples of Hiruzen Sarutobi, the three of them have very loose tasks. Under normal circumstances, ninja tasks are assigned by the village. If the superiors think you are suitable for this task, then you can go on this task. If they think you are not suitable, you can't go. This assignment of tasks is mandatory. In other words, if you don't do a task assigned to you, then you are disobeying the order. You can give your opinion on this task, but you must not disobey orders. But when it was Orochimaru's turn, the tasks assigned by the superiors became much looser. They first asked Orochimaru if you were free. If you were free, do it. If you weren't, there was no need to go. In other words, whether Orochimaru wants to do the mission depends entirely on his own mood. As for the reason, it's very simple. One is because they are disciples of the Hokage, and the other is because Orochimaru is now a scientific researcher in Konoha. You know, there are quite a few chonin in Konoha village. General tasks are the same for everyone, but when it comes to scientific research, can ordinary ninjas do it? Therefore, Orochimaru is free, and Jiraiya and Tsunade are also free to follow. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen was a little surprised to see Orochimaru appear in his office. You have just become the captain, are you eager to complete the mission? I'm tired of staying in the village and want to go out for a walk, Orochimaru said casually. Although he has a clear training route, it is still difficult to implement it. After all, he is too young now. If he wants to gain Danzo's trust, he must at least acquire the ability of cell transplantation first. Be proficient. The cells are still in the cultivation stage now, and it will take a long time. So he wants to take advantage of this time to get familiar with the humanistic environment of other countries as soon as possible. Hearing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't help but smile bitterly. What you said is true. Yes, what you lack now is training. So, what kind of mission would you like to take on for your squad? Look, this is how Hokage disciples are treated. You can even choose tasks at will. The level should be as high as possible, Orochimaru said calmly. Although they are still genin now, their strength is not weak. Even if they can't do S-level tasks, they can still do B-level tasks without any problem. Sarutobi Hiruzen naturally knows this too. His three disciples he grew up very quickly, so it was normal for him to do more advanced tasks. But as a teacher, he naturally had to consider the personal safety of the three of them. So after careful consideration, Sarutobi helped them choose a relatively safe place. B-level mission. Escort a caravan to Tien country. You may encounter some enemies along the way, but generally they will not exceed the level of Choyunin. It not only tempers your talents, but there will not be too much danger. Orochimaru, have you received an S-level mission? Have you received an S-level mission? Orochimaru received the mission scroll and was about to leave when Jiraiya ran in with a roar. Behind him, followed by Tsunade with black lines on her head. Seeing Orochimaru staring at her, she pointed wordlessly. Jiraiya next to him. I said no, but this guy insists on coming, and he also said he must take on an S-level mission. S-level? Haha. Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't help laughing. Jiraiya, genin can't receive S-level missions. What the hell? The recent missions have been boring to death. Is there no more exciting missions? Jiraiya clenched his fist and said extremely excitedly. I don't know why this guy is so motivated after being hit so many times. Orochimaru raised the scroll in his hand. Okay, Jiraiya, although there is no S-level missions, but there are still B-level missions, let's go. Huh? Class B. Hearing about the B-level mission, Jiraiya was stunned for a moment, and then became even more excited. Awesome, this is a mission that only Chunin can receive, we actually got a B-level mission, ha ha ha. Jiraiya chattered a lot. A genin, especially a genin who does not guide the jounin to carry out the mission, cannot receive B-level missions. Being able to receive this mission now is enough to show that the third Hokage recognizes the strength of the three people. Of course, it's more because they are related households. Seeing Jiraya's amused and excited look, Orochimaru ignored him, took the mission scroll, and turned around to leave. The mission scroll says very clearly, go to the south of Konoha village, where there is a caravan coming to oppose the two countries. They need to escort this caravan back to Tien country. Good, amazing. Orochimaru, look over there. A few people left the Hokage's office and passed by the training ground. Jiraiya couldn't help shouting. But Jiraya's voice also successfully attracted Orochimaru's attention. Follow Jiraya's gaze and look over, several teenagers of about the same age are sparring. Of course, this is not the most important thing, the most important thing is one of the white-haired kid. Not only does he use a short sword, but his sword skills are extremely superb. With 1 against 3, not only can Luo Feng was able to beat the other 3. This guy is really strong. Seeing this scene, Tsunade was also surprised. If it's 1-on-1, Tsunade has never met an opponent except Orochimaru. But fighting 1-on-3 at the same level? She may be able to do it, but she definitely can't. Seeing how easy the other party was. Thinking of this, she subconsciously looked at Orochimaru beside her. Maybe Orochimaru can do it. Hey, take Sakumo? Orochimaru's eyes narrowed slightly. I almost forgot about this guy. That's right, the ninja who is sparring with 3 other children in the training ground is the future Konoha White Fang and Heitake Sakumo. The original father of Kakashi Heitake, the #1 technician in Konoha. A strong man of the same era as the Sunin. He is now 1 year older than the Sunin. At this time, he was holding his short sword and mingling with the other 3. He is very fast, so fast that when it comes time to fight, you won't even have time to form a seal. What a quick instant, this guy is probably no weaker than Orochimaru. Jiraiya muttered to himself. Teleportation, one of the 3 advanced body techniques. It is a general term for any technique that can achieve instant movement. There is the fastest space teleportation, Flying Thunder God. There is an ordinary body teleportation. There are also various escape techniques and teleportation. Now Orochimaru and Tsunade, as well as Konoha White Fang just now, all use ordinary taijutsu to teleport. They use the high burst of chakra to achieve short distance displacement. This kind of teleportation technique, it is a taijutsu, and because it requires concentrating chakra, it cannot be used continuously. Most ninjas can do it, but because everyone has different control over chakra, the speed is also different. Generally, Jounin is faster than Genin. There is no doubt about it. Because Orochimaru has strengthened his body and awakened the Sharingan, his speed of teleportation is no longer slower than those of Jounin. But now, Heitake Sakumo can actually use the teleportation technique on his own. He has cultivated to a level similar to that of Orochimaru. This has to be said, it is a kind of strength. It is no wonder that he can become a legend. If he continues to grow at this rate, it will only be a matter of time before his strength reaches the cage level. This guy is really strong, but Orochimaru hasn't finished yet. All he could say was that this guy was a coffee table filled with cups. A legendary ninja was driven to suicide? What is it if it's not a cup? Hearing this, Jiraiya said in a wicked way, but what? Are you unconvinced? Do you want to go up and fight with him? Go ahead, Lord Jiraiya, will definitely support you. I'm not that bored. Let's go, the mission is urgent. After Orochimaru finished speaking, he turned around and left without waiting for the 2 of them to react. Feisty? He doesn't have that spare time. Alas, don't leave. Looking at the calm Orochimaru, Jiraiya was speechless. I originally wanted to provoke Orochimaru into a fight with the guy with the knife. I didn't expect that Orochimaru wouldn't be fooled at all. This is not scientific at all, is it? Geniuses, shouldn't they be interested in other geniuses? What about the competitive spirit you promised? Where is the promised Nindo? Why don't you Orochimaru play your cards according to the routine? All kinds of questions appeared in Jiraiya's mind. Only Tsunade looked at Orochimaru silently, not knowing what he was thinking in his heart. Bak is a fat businessman who travels around the world. This time, they got the news that Konoha village was purchasing rare medicinal materials, so they specially purchased a batch of precious medicinal materials from Hongzhou Shonen and brought them to Konoha to sell. At the same time, we will sell some special products from the Land of Fire to other places. It was only after I came to Konoha village to complete the transaction and just collected the specialties of the Fire Country that I heard that there were many wandering ninjas on the road from the Fire Country to the Tien Country, so I came to Konoha to hire some ninjas to escort them. After all, life is more important than money. Orochimaru knows that in this world, the richest profession is not the ninja, but the plutocrats. A ninja earns money by doing tasks. To put it bluntly, he is a high-end wage earner who trades his life for money. No different from the mercenaries in the previous life. No matter how rich a mercenary is, can he be richer than a rich man? It's obviously impossible. So, this world is the same. It's normal for ninjas to be less wealthy than Zaibatsu. Just like Kato who hired Zabuza in the original work, he hired Zabuza at a very low price. Or that little kid who only knows how to escape with money. Or, Bak now. Hey, what is going on in Konoha? I'm here to entrust a task, and it's not like I won't pay you, so your village will send these 3 little brats to protect me. In a courtyard in the south of Konoha village, a fat man in his 40s with a big belly was questioning a Konoha ninja in front of him loudly. Next to him, stood Orochimaru and 3 others. After hearing Bak's words, the Konoha ninja said respectfully, I'm really sorry, all the tasks entrusted by the village are arranged by the above. Since the above has arranged for the 3 of them to come here, it proves that they are qualified for this task. Fart, a brat like that, I can hit 3 people by myself. Okay, stop talking nonsense and send me something reliable quickly. Bak was a little impatient. Don't think that I don't know the rules of your ninjas. The mission I issued is a B-level mission. There must be at least a Choyunin in the team. Are there any Chunin among these 3 brats? Stop kidding me. The Konoha ninjas are in a bit of a dilemma. Because what Bak said is indeed true. Although Orochimaru and the 3 are disciples of Lord Hokage and are not weak in strength, they are indeed only genin. And he is too young, so it would be a bit reluctant to complete the task alone. It is understandable that the task client is worried. Uncle, we are the disciples of Lord Hokage, how can ordinary Choyunin be our opponents? Tsunade waved her hand casually. With us here, you can rest assured. Well, Hokage-sama's disciple? Really? Of course, let alone B-level missions, even S-level missions can be completed easily. Jiraiya said with confidence. I have to say, Jiraiya is a tease. When Bak heard Tsunade's words that they were Hokage's disciples, his feeling of contempt disappeared. But when I heard Jiraiya speak, I immediately felt that these guys were really unreliable. Especially this white-haired brat, will he die if he doesn't brag? An S-level mission? Why didn't you say Super S-level mission? I do not care, you have to replace me anyway. Ah? Why, Jiraiya exclaimed. State. Before he finished speaking, Tsunade punched Jiraiya on the head. Jiraiya, shut up. It turns out that things went smoothly after Jiraiya shut up. Orochimaru just stepped forward and cast a shadow clone, and gained Bak's temporary trust. Because shadow clone is also an advanced ninjutsu, which ordinary Choyunin may not know. Even if Bak is ignorant, he still knows that this technique is awesome. Of course, because the 3 of them were too young, he was still a little worried and asked the 3 of them to compete with his men. Naturally, the 3 of them have no reason to disagree. Bak led 3 heavily armed men to a small town not far outside Konoha village. Here are the goods he exchanged. There are 4 or 5 carts in total, and in addition to the basic cart drivers, there are also 5 or 6 warriors. These 5 or 6 warriors are the subordinates who are usually responsible for Bok's safety. This is also what Orochimaru and the others need to defeat next. There are 2 types of warriors in this world, one with chakra and one without chakra. A samurai with chakra is much stronger than a samurai without chakra, and the combat capabilities of the 2 samurai are not on the same level. It was obvious that these warriors in front of them couldn't use chakra. For this reason, facing such a low-level challenge, Orochimaru had no interest at all. But Jiraiya was different, he was extremely excited. So, that's it. Under Bok's surprised gaze, he completed the feat of 1 versus 6. How about it? How about it? I didn't lie to you, uncle. Jiraiya folded his hands with a proud look on his face. How dare this damn fat man look down on himself? Look at how awesome Master Jiraiya is in Yushulinfen now. Awesome, worthy of being a disciple of Hokage, with such strong fighting ability at such a young age. Bok looked at the warriors who had been beaten into a state of disgrace, and immediately nodded like a chicken eating rice. Now he felt at ease. Seeing Jiraiya's sullen look, Orochimaru was helpless. He took out the mission scroll and looked at the destination of this mission. The location that needs to be escorted for this mission is Tien's Higuo. Remember, this seems to be the place where he established the Sound Ninja Village in the original work? Thinking of Oto Ninja Village, Orochimaru couldn't help but think of his own fate in the original work. Defected from Konoha, then wandered around, joined the Akatsuki organization, defected from the Akatsuki organization, and finally established the Sound Ninja Village. But now, after everything has changed, what will be his fate? Orochimaru is not sure. But he won't think about these fruitless things. Anyway, there must be a way to the mountain. With Bok's approval, the team began to slowly move towards Tien country. From the fire country Konoha village to the field country, it would not take more than 3 days for a ninja to travel at full speed. But now we are escorting cargo, and there are many ordinary people in the team, so the time required has doubled. Orochimaru estimates that he won't be able to get out for less than 10 days and half a month. When Orochimaru and others were escorting the caravan to Tien country, Konoha was in turmoil at this time. Hey, have you heard? What? I heard that the village has developed a new type of recovery potion. Restoration potion? Blood supplement pills? No. Is it to restore chakra? Chakra pills. It's not about restoring chakra, it's about treating trauma, and I heard the treatment is very fast. Recovering from trauma, real or fake? Is there any benefit to me lying to you? Oh, wait a minute, you said the recovery speed is very fast? How fast? From what I heard above, the effect won't take more than 3 minutes. As long as you don't hurt your brain or heart, you'll be healed quickly. 3 minutes, get well? How can it be? Really, it will be announced in 2 days anyway, and you will know then. Such conversations appeared in many corners of Konoha. They talked about this matter a lot, but most of them didn't believe this rumor. After all, the restorative power of this potion sounded a bit exaggerated in the rumors. In the village before the answer was announced, it was difficult to convince people. But 5 days later, the Konoha ninjas quickly dispelled their doubts. Because the orders from the top came down quickly and were conveyed quickly layer by layer. The village has developed a new type of recovery potion that can quickly recover from severe trauma. If necessary, go to Konoha Hospital and buy it yourself. The captain of each team said this. As soon as the news came out, the whole Konoha was boiling. Oh my god, is there really one? Simply incredible. Must buy. I am coming too. What? 60,000 doses? So expensive. Damn it, no matter how expensive it is, you have to buy it. After careful consideration, the ninjas still gritted their teeth and bought it. You know, ninjas are easily injured when performing tasks. And reality is not a game. In reality, you will bleed if you are injured. If you bleed too much, you will feel dizzy. Once this state occurs, you are likely to die during the battle. Now that you have this thing, combined with the blood-boosting pills, you can achieve a shocking reversal in battle. As long as you don't die, if you delay a little bit, you can be resurrected with full health. In other words, this thing is equivalent to giving you half an extra life. So, let alone 60,000 taels, even if it is 600,000 taels, you should still save money to buy a spare dose. Of course, although the ninjas have undergone psychological training, they are absolutely loyal to the village. They also believe that the village will not cheat them in terms of the efficacy of the medicine, but some people still feel that this statement is a bit exaggerated, so they are remaining neutral now. Neither deny nor buy it. But that doesn't matter. Because in Konoha Hospital, there are still many Konoha ninjas with trauma. After Yuan Yi used the potion on them in front of everyone, suddenly everyone was surprised. 3 minutes, indeed it will take effect in less than 3 minutes. The wound is healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Although severed limbs cannot be regenerated, ordinary trauma can be recovered quickly. When they learned that the cost of this thing was 50,000 taels per dose, and the village only charged 10,000 taels for processing, a long queue formed at Konoha Hospital. In this way, Yuan Yi let other researchers, stayed up all night, and spent 5 days and 5 nights to prepare the first batch of recovery potions, which were quickly sold out. It's said to be the first batch, but it's actually not many. There are only 50 branches in total. But this is their limit. Unbelievable. Ha ha ha, Teacher Yuan Yi, you are really amazing. Yes, Teacher Yuan Yi, you are simply a genius. Where? A group of ninjas praised Yuan Yi for inventing this potion. After all, this invention can be said to have greatly reduced the mortality rate of ninjas. Hearing everyone's praise, Yuan Yi was a little embarrassed, because this originally belonged to Orochimaru honor. However, Sarutobi Hiruzen has already said that Orochimaru is a secret of the village, and the village does not allow Orochimaru's existence to be announced. All the ninjas who knew that Orochimaru was the developer, including Jiraiya and Tsunade, signed confidentiality agreement. Therefore, he could only deal with these compliments perfunctorily. Half an hour later, the Hokage's office. Sarutobi Hiruzen sat at his desk with his hands on the table and listened quietly to Harano's report. That's it, Hokage-sama. Judging from the quantity of medicinal materials in this transaction, the maximum number of recovery potions can be produced is 500. If more, individual rare medicinal materials may not be enough. Yuan Ye said respectfully. When he demonstrated the efficacy of the medicine in the hospital before, there were so many ninjas from the village surrounding him. He was really afraid that he would fail. But now, the medicine he made has been recognized by other ninjas, which is very important to him. Said, an absolutely supreme honor. Although this honor originally belonged to Orochimaru, but now the village is not prepared to announce the existence of Orochimaru, so it is natural for him to enjoy this honor. After listening to Yuano's report, Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded slightly. 500? It's a bit short, but that's all it can do for now. Go down and rest, and take your time in making the next potion. Yes. Wanyo turned around and left. After waiting for Yuan Yi, he told other Konoha senior officials about the current situation of the matter. After hearing this, Koharu and Mito Kadoyan, who were transferred to bed, couldn't help but admire. What a great scientific research achievement! Orochimaru, this kid, is really a genius. Yes, once this thing comes out, it is equivalent to carrying a medical ninja with you, which can reduce a lot of losses in Konoha. Is not that right? Danzo said calmly. Don't be too happy too early. Judging from the previous situation, the efficacy of this medicine is limited. If there are too many traumas, it will still not be fully recovered. Don't worry about this. They have tested it before. If one person takes 2, it will be enough for any trauma. Is that so? Hearing this, Danzo narrowed his eyes and stopped talking. because even he couldn't find anything wrong with this new type of recovery potion. On the other side, Orochimaru didn't know that the thing he developed had become popular throughout the village. Because he has now arrived at the border of Tien country. At this time, everyone was sitting on the roadside, taking a rest and preparing to cross the border. Jiraiya was chatting with the merchant Bok, while he was sitting alone on a rock to rest. The country of fields. Bordering the Fire Nation to the north. It is a small country between the Kingdom of Fire and the Kingdom of Thunder. There is no ninja village in this country, and every war between great powers will involve them. Just like when Konoha and Kumo ninja went to war before, this country became a victim between the great powers. Thinking of this, Orochimaru already had an idea. No matter whether your destiny will change or not, it is imperative to form your own power. Think about the subordinates of Orochimaru in the original novel, Kabuto Yakushi, Kimimaro, Yugo, Kaso, and Gurren. Which one of the four is not an elite? If you don't build a force yourself and do everything yourself, what's the difference between that and salted fish? Even Danzo knows that before doing big things, you need to have your own team. There is no reason for me to be inferior to Danzo. Hey, Orochimaru, what are you thinking about? Seeing Orochimaru sitting on a big rock in a daze, Tsunade not far away couldn't help but ran over and asked quietly. Orochimaru came back to his senses. It's nothing. Nothing? Why do I think you look so worried all the way? Is it because of what Grandma Mito told you? Not so. Orochimaru paused after saying this. Did you know that your grandma came to see me? Of course, because she told me. Before Tsunade could finish her words, she immediately realized that she had slipped her words and quickly shut her mouth. She secretly glanced at Orochimaru and found that Orochimaru didn't care, and couldn't help but breathed a sigh of relief. Hehe, I just told her that you are very talented, and then she said she wanted to meet you. That's it. Orochimaru said casually. He didn't care about this in the first place, he just asked subconsciously. Of course, Orochimaru, what do you think of me being your girlfriend? How about being your girlfriend? Looking at little Tsunade's cute yet serious look, Orochimaru was also infected by her cute appearance. Didn't I say, wait until you grow up? But, I want to be your girlfriend now. Do you know what a girlfriend is? Of course I understand. Before Tsunade finished speaking, she suddenly realized something and looked at Orochimaru with a strange expression. Hey, are you like that big pervert Jiraiya who dislikes my flat chest? Although Orochimaru is used to Tsunade's directness. But when Tsunade said this, he was still stunned for a moment. Is this a bit too direct? Indeed, people in the Naruto world are relatively precocious. Girls start growing as early as 8 or 9 years old. Tsunade is almost 10 years old now, and she still looks like a smooth man, with no signs of development at all. Compared to other little girls, this is indeed a bit late. But Orochimaru, who is familiar with the future, knows that Tsunade is the most powerful Hokage. Breast comparison? Who can compare to Tsunade? You think too much. Hey, I knew you weren't as superficial as that guy. Tsunade smiled happily. Then we've settled on it. Saying that, Tsunade happily took Orochimaru's arm. Since the two of them were very close to each other, Orochimaru could clearly feel Tsunade's current overwhelming strength. Looking at Tsunade, who was still a lowly next to him, Orochimaru's heart was filled with guilt at this moment. This feeling of being appreciated is completely opposite to that of the unknown young man in his previous life. Maybe, this is what I want. Tsunade confessed to Orochimaru, and confessed his love so casually, it seemed incredible. But Tsunade is such a straightforward person. It was true when I was a child, and it is true when I grow up. Orochimaru's feelings for Tsunade were very strange. So although he didn't agree directly, he didn't refuse either. Seeing the two of them flirting with each other, Jiraiya in the distance was full of resentment and cursed Orochimaru 180 times in his heart. But he has no choice. Because Tsunade never liked him from the beginning to the end, and she told him clearly. It's really sad. Jiraiya, who got the answer in the affirmative, looked depressed, propped his chin with one hand, and muttered. Tsunade was his main motivation for training. Suddenly he knew that he had no hope, and it felt like he had lost his goal in life. What's wrong? Bro. The fat bok sitting opposite looked at Jiraiya with a smile. As someone who has been there, how could he not know what was going on? Jiraiya came back to his senses and waved his hand listlessly. No, it's nothing, I just felt a little uncomfortable suddenly. Haha, it looks like that guy is better than you. Bok said with a smile. Even if a kid like Jiraiya is already a ninja, his expression is still written on his face. Just by looking, he knows what the relationship is between the three of them. How can it be? I can fight that guy alone. When Jiraiya said this, he subconsciously glanced at Tsunade and Orochimaru, and just in time to see Tsunade and Orochimaru looking towards him, he suddenly felt like a deflated ball. Okay, I really can't beat him. He believed that if he continued to brag, he would definitely be despised by Tsunade again. That guy Tsunade always hits him regardless of the situation, and he only has Orochimaru in his eyes. Bok glanced at Orochimaru and the two who were continuing to chat behind him, then glanced at Jiraiya in front of him and smiled. Is it possible, brother, are you just giving up? What can I do if I don't give up? That guy is a freak, I've never beaten him in a fight. Jiraiya put his face on his hands and said dejectedly. When he thought that he had never won a victory against Orochimaru in his life, his heart felt cold. Just hearing Jiraiya's words, Bok was a little surprised. Although it was Jiraiya who defeated 6 of his samurai before, he was a master. He could naturally tell who was the strongest in this team. However, he did not expect that Jiraiya, who seemed to be quite strong, could actually being beaten so hard by Orochimaru in terms of strength. How strong will Orochimaru be? Haha, just because you haven't won now, doesn't mean you won't be able to win in the future. Ninja, don't give up easily. Hearing this, Jiraiya was stunned for a moment, then thought for a while, and then seemed to realize uncle is right. If you can't beat me now, it doesn't mean you won't be able to beat him in the future. I'm a ninja, I can't give up so easily. Hehe, uncle, thank you for waking me up. Ha ha ha, it's okay, you're welcome. Seeing Jiraiya's respect, Bok said haha, but secretly thought in his heart. If you give up easily, wouldn't you have to abandon yourself when you encounter a stronger enemy? Well, it looks like that guy over there is more reliable. At least, it is much stronger in terms of strength. The miserable Jiraiya thought that Bok was kindly giving him a heads up. He had no idea that he had been deceived and kept chatting with Bok. Tsunade from a distance looked at Jiraiya's beaming expression and couldn't help but wonder what's going on with Jiraiya. Who knows, maybe your actions made him unhappy. Well. Tsunade looked at her hand that was holding Orochimaru's arm, and couldn't help but curled her lips. What does it have to do with him if I hold your hand? Besides, do you think he looks unhappy? Orochimaru glanced at Jiraiya, who was in high spirits. Huh? This guy seems to have figured it out on his own again? I have to say that Jiraiya's willpower is really strong. Just like the original Naruto, he has a persevering will. Even if you occasionally feel depressed, you will recover quickly on your own. Perhaps, this is why many people like Jiraiya. Positive and optimistic, full of positive energy. Everyone rested there for a while, and then continued on the road to Tien Country. This mission went very smoothly. Except for encountering 2 groups of ordinary bandits and a wave of wandering ninjas in Tien Country, there were no big surprises. Orochimaru easily dealt with ordinary bandits without even having to take action. As for the wandering ninja, there are 2 things to do. It's just a combination of 1 Chuunin and 3 Genin. Such a level cannot withstand the devastation of 3 people. The only thing worth mentioning is that Orochimaru found that he was now very murderous. When facing the enemy, they all like to leave no one alive. Just like when we dealt with those wandering ninjas. The enemy Chuunin was killed instantly in the fight. If Tsunade and Jiraiya hadn't stopped him, the other three genin might not even have a chance to escape. Orochimaru didn't care about this, he just thought that this was the way the world was and he was just used to it. B-level missions, mission commissions range from 50,000 to 150,000. The difficulty of this mission is relatively high among B-level missions, so the commission paid by Bach is 150,000 taels. It lasted 18 days. From this point of view, it is still difficult for ninjas to make money. You know, these 150,000 taels still have to be paid to the village, and after that, they have to be divided among 3 people. Counting the time spent, there is not much money left at all. Of course, after the mission was successfully completed, Orochimaru spent 2 days inspecting Tien country. The final conclusion was that not only did this country have no ninja villages, but there were also very few ordinary villagers. Even the place where the daimyo lived was only relatively spacious, not magnificent at all. It's no wonder that the original Orochimaru established a base camp here. The daimyo here are so poor, they just bribe them with whatever money they can get, without worrying about political issues at all. Moreover, this country is sparsely populated, so if you build a ninja village, it will not be easy to be discovered. When the 3 of them returned to Konoha village, it was already 18 days later. The recovery power of this potion is really strong. I heard that Rukawa relied on this potion to survive when he went on a mission before. Yeah? That's great. Very good. What's the meaning? I ordered one because I was afraid it wouldn't have the rumored effect. After hearing what you said, I felt relieved. You actually still have doubts about the effectiveness of the medicine? Didn't you go when Senior Yuanyi showed live that day? No, I happened to have something to do that day, so. I see. As soon as the 3 of them entered the village, they heard 2 gatekeepers chatting at the entrance of Konoha village. After hearing this discussion, Tsunade and Jiraiya subconsciously looked at Orochimaru. This guy is really powerful. The potions developed have already been started. Has it become popular? Hey, Orochimaru, with this recovery potion, does it mean that the medical ninjutsu I learned will be useless in the future? Tsunade suddenly thought of a question. When he first learned medical ninjutsu, it was to save his teammates and reduce casualties. But now, the potion developed by Orochimaru has such strong recovery power, what is the use of medical ninjutsu? She was a little skeptical. This profession he chose. After hearing Tsunade's question, Orochimaru replied calmly, you can't say that. This kind of potion is expensive and not everyone can afford it. Moreover, some of the medicinal materials in it are very difficult to find, so the quantity is limited, so even if you have money, you may not be able to buy it. Of course, the most important thing is that it has no detoxification function. Is that so? After listening to Orochimaru's explanation, Tsunade couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. She was really afraid that the profession she chose would become useless. Medical ninjas can not only treat trauma, but also cure various diseases and remove various toxins. This is functions that recovery potions do not have. Therefore, medical ninjas are still very useful. Alas, since this potion is so rare, do you have a spare on you? Of course. Bang! As he spoke, Orochimaru drew out the scroll and channeled 2. Well, I'll give you one each, I hope you won't need it. Hee, thank you. Tsunade was not polite and took one first. Because now she considers herself Orochimaru's girlfriend, so there is nothing to be embarrassed about. But Jiraiya turned his head to the side. Hey, I'm Jiraiya, the adults are so powerful that they don't need such things. He thought he was very arrogant, but when he finished saying this, he didn't hear any movement for a long time, but he was a little confused. When he couldn't help but look back, he found that Orochimaru had gone away. Alas, this guy Orochimaru, didn't you say anything to persuade me? Puff, ha 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 ha. Tsunade couldn't help but let out a burst of unbridled laughter. Jiraiya, you guy, why are you pretending to be fine, take it. With that said, Tsunade handed a potion to Jiraiya. Looking at the total of 2 potions in Tsunade's hand, Jiraiya suddenly realized. It turned out that Orochimaru gave both potions to Tsunade before leaving. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but look at Orochimaru, who was gradually moving away. This guy didn't seem so difficult to get along with. Hey, Orochimaru, wait. Orochimaru took the 2 of them back to the Hokage's office to recover. After returning to life, they took their own commissions and went back to their respective homes. After returning to the village, Orochimaru was going to go home and take a rest. Unexpectedly, less than an hour after he lay down, he was happily pulled up by Tsunade, who claimed to be his girlfriend. Orochimaru was a little confused as to why Tsunade was so happy, until Tsunade brought him to Konoha Hospital. Hospital, Intensive Care Unit. A woman with long dark green hair was lying on the bed in the ward. She looks somewhat similar to adult Tsunade, but her movements and demeanor are very gentle. Next to him, sat a man with the same hair color as Tsunade. The man also has a gentle smile on his face, and he looks very friendly. This man and woman were met by Orochimaru at the funeral of the second Hokage. They are people whom I don't remember, Tsunade's parents. Tsunade's father's hair color is different from Hashirama and Tobirama, so it cannot be judged whether his Senja bloodline is pure. Seeing Tsunade holding Orochimaru's hand and walking into the ward, he was stunned for a moment, then showed a helpless smile. Tsunade knew Orochimaru's character, so she introduced her parents casually, then pulled Orochimaru towards the corner of the ward. Orochimaru, come here. There is a small bed in the corner of the ward, and there is a newborn baby lying on the small bed. Now, Orochimaru, this is my brother, Naoki, who was born just a few days ago. Rope tree, Orochimaru looked at the baby in front of him who was just a few days old. Has Tsunade's younger brother Naoki been born? Hehe, Orochimaru, my brother is cute, right? Tsunade said happily while playing with the baby's hand. It could be seen that she suddenly had a little brother, and she was really happy. Orochimaru nodded subconsciously. To be honest, he actually doesn't have any special feelings towards children. He doesn't particularly hate it, nor does he particularly like it. But due to human feelings, he can only answer this way. It's just Tsunade, she didn't know what Orochimaru was thinking. After receiving Orochimaru's approval, she smiled even happier and kept teasing the baby on the crib. Excuse me, do you still sell the recovery potion? I want to buy one. Gone. It is said that the production process of this thing is very complicated, and now only about 10 can be produced in a day. If you want to buy it, just pay and reserve it. Ah? Booking? Okay, I'll order one for tomorrow. Tomorrow's? Haha, sorry, you can only book for half a month later. Half a month later? Why? Because everything within half a month has been booked. Ah? The white-haired boy exclaimed. Then my friend is seriously injured now. There's nothing you can do about it. Anyone who buys this potion is using it to treat serious injuries. The staff member's words made the white-haired boy speechless. Yes, this thing costs 60,000 taels apiece. If it is not a serious injury, who would use such expensive medicine so extravagantly? Thinking of this, the white-haired boy turned around in frustration leave. But at this moment, a child about his age appeared in front of him. The child was still wearing a ninja uniform, with pale skin and golden vertical pupils. You seem to be in great need of a recovery potion. Well, that's true. My companion was seriously injured and is still unconscious. I thought this potion should be able to relieve his pain, but who knows? Before the white-haired boy finished speaking, he saw the other party taking out a potion from nowhere and handing it to him. Well? This is... Here you go. Thank you so much. The white-haired boy looked grateful. While taking the potion, he quickly took out his wallet. No need for money, I don't need this stuff for the time being. How is this possible? The white-haired boy was about to refuse, but found that the other party had already walked away. Hey, wait a minute. The white-haired boy quickly chased after him. Why did you give me this? Didn't I tell you that I'm not short of money? You're not short of money and I can't ask for it in vain. Here. Here is 60,000 taels. The white-haired boy handed the money and wallet to the other person's hand. My name is Heitake Shomo, what's your name? Orochimaru. Orochimaru? I remember. But I have to save my friend now, let's talk some other time. With that said, Heitake Sakumo turned around and hurried towards the inpatient department of the hospital. Weighing the wallet containing 60,000 taels of banknotes in his hand, Orochimaru curled his lips. Heitake Sakumo? Haha, interesting. Just now, he said goodbye to Tsunade shortly after seeing the rope tree. Unexpectedly, as soon as he walked out of the ward, he heard the conversation between Heitake Sakumo and the staff at the hospital charge window. So, after a little hesitation, Orochimaru decided to make a favor. Although in his memory, Heitake Sakumo's death was very painful and was of no use to him. But now that he has traveled through time, who knows what fate this guy will have. So, there is nothing wrong with getting to know these future powerful men. Looking at the darkening sky outside, Orochimaru took a deep breath. Uzumaki Mito has seen it, Heitake Sakumo has also seen it, and now Rope the Tree was also born, and it feels like there's nothing special about this world, right? Forget it, it's better to go back to sleep. Thinking of this, Orochimaru walked slowly towards his house. Orochimaru has a lot of scientific research results now, at least for Konoha. But he is not ready to take it all out. At most, it's enough to bring out an insignificant technology occasionally. Because he is not sure what his future destiny will be, he needs to keep important scientific research results to himself. Or give yourself power in the future. I have to say that the road to scientific research is quite long. Compared with the 9 tails of the original Uzumaki Naruto, the gap is really big. I remember that it only took 3 years for Naruto Uzumaki to grow from a kid who just graduated from a ninja school to a savior who can fight against Princess Kaguya. At this speed, even Uchiha Madara can only be defeated. And what about yourself? In the case of direct scientific research results, only a superficial research was achieved in 3 years. Although Orochimaru also knows that science and other things, in the later stages of research, the power will definitely be exaggerated. But I can't stand the time required for scientific research and the loneliness on the road of scientific research. I remember that when Orochimaru was engaged in scientific research in the original novel, there was a powerful subordinate named Yakushi Kabuto who they fell in love with. Let's do research together. But now, according to time calculation, Yakushi Kabuto will not be born for at least 20 years. Yes, 20 years, just born. In 20 years, I have already. Therefore, he must find a subordinate. Thinking of this, Orochimaru slowly closed his eyes, thinking about possible talents. This thought brought me directly to the middle of the night. Finally, he came to the conclusion, at this time, there is no ninja who can become his subordinate. The strength is enough, but the status does not allow it. The status is enough, but the professional knowledge is not enough. So, still have to wait. Early the next morning, Orochimaru came to the Hokage's office again, preparing to take on the next task. Anyway, my experiments are still in the cell culture stage recently, and I have nothing else to do. It would be good to complete more tasks and see the world. However, when he arrived at the Hokage's office, Sarutobi Hiruzen told him a special news. Orochimaru, because of your current situation, only B-level and above tasks can play a training role, so in order to reassure your employer, you need to take an exam. Take an exam. Hearing this, Orochimaru's eyes narrowed slightly. Chunin exam. Good. For Orochimaru and the other 3, they simply don't want to take on ordinary C and D level missions. Because C and D level tasks are usually chores that have no effect at all except for the pitiful employment fee. But if they take on slightly more advanced tasks, their employers will look down on them because of their young age. Just like the previous businessman Bach, it is very troublesome to gain his trust. Therefore, after Hiruzen Sarutobi learned about the situation of the previous people, he immediately made his own decision. Let Orochimaru and the other 3 take the Chunin exam. As long as you take the Chunin exam, upgrade to Chunin, and put on the Chunin vest, the employer will no longer have any complaints. After listening to Sarutobi Hiruzen's story, Orochimaru nodded in agreement. No problem. Then take part. Anyway, for their current strength, the Chunin exam is just a formality. After coming to this world for so long, Orochimaru knows. The real Chunin exam is completely different from the Chunin exam in the original book. The Chunin exam in the original book is a way for various countries to come together to put on a show during peacetime, or to show off their military power. It's not even a real Chunin exam. Not only can it be done once every 3 years, and every country that receives an invitation participates voluntarily. If you don't have a good relationship, no one will come. For example, in the original work, the 3 big villages of the Kingdom of Water, the Kingdom of Thunder, and the Kingdom of Rock did not come. Only the Wind Country and some surrounding small countries that had good relations with Konoha sent people. In addition to showing off military strength, it also contains some complicated things, such as spying on military intelligence, confirming the level of neighboring countries, balancing the power of various countries, etc. It can be said that it is a very political Chunin exam. The real Chunin exam is actually not that fancy. It is held once every 6 months, and the only ninjas who take part in the exam are from their own village. If the guiding jounin feels that his student is good enough, he will sign him up. Some people are very talented and can be promoted to Chunin at a few years old, such as Kakashi. But some people have very poor talent and are still just genin in their 30s or 40s, like Mat Dai. Therefore, there are ninjas of all ages who take the Chunin exam. Of course, although it is difficult for most ninjas to upgrade to Jonin, it is still no problem to upgrade to Chunin. After all, there are only a few people who are promoted to Chunin at a young age, or who are unable to be promoted to Chunin even at the age of 40 or 50. Konoha, training ground. When she found out that she was going to take the Chunin exam, Tsunade just shrugged indifferently, but Jiraiya was extremely excited. Yonishi, Jiraiya-sama, will definitely give it my all for the Chunin exams. Tsunade's head was full of black lines. This guy is indeed a motivated ninja. And Orochimaru also looked at Jiraiya and fell into deep thought. Does this guy have stimulants in his body? Although Konoha village today can be considered a period of peace, since the war has just ended less than a year ago, diplomacy is naturally not as friendly as Konoha was with neighboring countries in 60 years. Therefore, this time, only people from their own village will participate in the Chunin exam. The Chunin exams are scheduled to be held in half a month. Orochimaru and the others have also been preparing for the Chunin exams in the past half month. At the training ground, Orochimaru is training Jiraiya. Tsunade sat aside and watched the battle. Seeing Jiraiya being knocked away by him again and again, Orochimaru said calmly, "You are now much stronger than those genin, there is no need to fight so hard. Hateful, you are my goal." Jiraiya was beaten away and lay on the lawn, gasping for air. "Again, come again, Orochimaru, my powerful Jiraiya-sama has mastered the method of breaking your illusion. I will definitely not fall for it this time. Jiraiya, I think you should take a rest first. Your chakra has been almost used up. If you use it again, it will be useless." Tsunade walked over from the side and said somewhat speechlessly. Chakra is the product of the combination of physical energy and mental energy. The two energies are combined to form chakra, which is stored in the ninja's body. Normally, ninjutsu is released from here. Extract from the stored chakra. After part of the chakra is used up by releasing ninjutsu, the ninja can restore the used chakra by resting or taking chakra pills. But when the stored chakra is used up, the ninja's body will be in a state of exhaustion. Because the physical energy required for chakra is absorbed cell by cell from the 130 trillion cells in the human body. Using up the chakra is equivalent to reaching the limit of your physical and mental energy. It will cause a huge burden on both the body and the spirit. But if you use up the chakra and want to forcibly extract the chakra to release ninjutsu, it is equivalent to overdrawing your mental power to squeeze out the fine body energy. This can easily cause physical and mental collapse at the same time, resulting in sudden death. Therefore, under normal circumstances, ninjas will save a little chakra to save their lives. If you run out of chakra, you will feel tired and dizzy. If you are fighting, if you are in this state, then you have no choice but to wait for death. If you still want to overdraw your chakra to use ninjutsu in this state, it is an overdraft. A little overdraft may not be a problem, but if you overdraw too much more, it can only be a sudden death. This is how Kakashi died in the original work. So when Tsunade saw Jiraiya's tired look, she couldn't help but remind him. But when Jiraiya heard this, he immediately energized. He turned his head to look at Tsunade. Hey, Tsunade, do you care about me? What the hell? I just don't a Euro trademark T want to take a useless person with me during the exam. Hey, I know you are not so kind. Jiraiya, who was lying on the ground, looked at the sky, but what you said makes sense. Well, we can fight again after I recover my chakra, Orochimaru, you have used more ninjutsu than me, why is nothing happening now? Jiraiya's reaction was very slow, and now he discovered that Orochimaru's chakra amount was abnormal. But it seems that he can't be blamed, because in the previous training, he had never worked as hard as he did today. Jiraiya with such hard work, Orochimaru naturally didn't need to release too much chakra to deal with him. So it was normal that he didn't realize that Orochimaru's chakra amount was a bit huge. But when he thought about it carefully, it seemed reasonable. Because Orochimaru's fists and kicks, the strength on the body is very sufficient. Only ninjas with different physiques than ordinary people will have this kind of strength. I have more chakra than you. Orochimaru replied calmly. Among the three people, Jiraiya had the most chakra, and Orochimaru had the least chakra. But all three of them were ninjas who did not inherit the family lineage. Therefore, after checking, although there is a difference in carat weight, it is not particularly big. Orochimaru's physique was already stronger than Jiraiya's after using the primary strengthening liquid, and now it is more than twice as strong as Jiraiya's. More chakra than me? Hearing Orochimaru's words, Jiraiya was stunned for a moment, and then looked like he was beyond love. It's true, why is God so unfair? I've been practicing so hard, so it doesn't matter if I can't compare to you elsewhere, but now I can't even compare to you in terms of chakra content. I'm not convinced, I'm not convinced. Jiraiya, lying on the ground, used his last strength to yell hysterically. You have to hold it in even if you don't accept it, because Orochimaru is a genius and you are a weakling. Tsunade's blow was delivered in time, causing 10,000 points of real damage to Jiraiya's mind. At this moment, Jiraiya seemed to hear the sound of something breaking, and a moment later he looked up to the sky and roared. I am not the one who lifts the car. Time flies. As everyone practices, half a month is coming in a blink of an eye. The Chunin exams will soon begin. Regarding the Chunin exam, the ninjas in Konoha are actually used to it. They are tired of watching the semi-annual selection. Only some ninjas who have no missions and are bored will come to watch the game. Of course, the daily tasks of these ninjas are extremely boring, so usually ninjas who have no tasks during this time will come to watch the game. Because such a competition is not only the village's Chunin exam, but also a gambling game. Gambling can add a lot of fun to life. Oh! There are really a lot of people in this session. Arriving at the Chunin selection waiting room and looking at the dense crowd, Jiraiya was amazed. The classroom is very spacious and crowded with people. It is estimated that there are at least several hundred people in this classroom. It is completely different from the 100 or 200 people in the original work. And I heard that there is more than just this classroom? Orochimaru had already expected this. He has long known that there is a gap between reality and memory. Think of the 80,000 ninja combined army of the Fourth Ninja War. According to the distribution of the 5 countries, Konoha, as the most powerful country, has at least 20,000 ninjas, right? And after 3 battles with heavy casualties, there were still 20,000 ninjas. Judging from this number, the current number of ninjas in Konoha is at least 30,000. 30,000 ninjas, how many jounin are there? How many chunin are there? How many genin are there? Jonin is the elite in every ninja village and the strongest fighting force in the village. This type of ninja has the smallest number, less than 1/10 of the total number of ninjas. Choyunin and special jounin are the most numerous, accounting for about half. There are also a lot of genin, accounting for about 30% of the total number of ninjas. In other words, there are nearly 10,000 genin in Konoha. As for the 10,000 genin, even if they don't all sign up, no matter how small the number of applicants is, there will still be 1 or 2,000 people participating in the chunin selection. Just like now, if you look around, there are hundreds of people. Among these hundreds of people, there were children about the same age as Orochimaru, young people in their 20s, and uncles in their 40s. Of course, he was not surprised by this Orochimaru. In this world, when becoming a genin, everyone may be of the same age, but when a genin is promoted to a choyunin, some people may not be able to advance in their lifetime. Therefore, it is normal for the choyunin examination to have such a big age gap. The ninjas in the classroom were stunned for a moment when they saw Orochimaru and the others pushing the door open, and then several of them smiled mockingly. Haha, there are quite a few brats in this year who are not afraid of death. Yes, as mentioned above, during peacetime, there is no need to be so anxious to take the chunin exam, but there are still many brats who sign up. Maybe they don't know that the current choyunin exam is more difficult than before, right? Normally, there are always some ignorant brats in this world. They will know how to be afraid only after being taught a bloody lesson. There are endless discussions, but the only ones who are talking about Orochimaru and the others are some genin at the door. The other places are far away, and there is no time to talk about them. These guys don't look weak in strength, Tsunade said calmly. Yes, alas, alas, look over there, that white-haired guy was there that day. Jiraiya pointed to the corner of the classroom and said loudly. Orochimaru and Tsunade heard the sound and went out, only to see the white-haired boy in the corner discussing something with his companions. While he was speaking, his eyes also glanced at the scene just now. Orochimaru and the 3 people entered the classroom door. They were stunned for a moment, then smiled, said hello to their companions, and then walked towards Orochimaru. Hey, he's here? Orochimaru, you say, this guy wouldn't hear me call him by Mao and feel unhappy and want to come over and beat me up, right? Seeing Heitake Sakumo coming over, Jiraiya couldn't help but swallowed. I have to say, Jiraiya is really funny. His brain circuit is different from others. He hasn't even started yet. Who would fight easily during an exam? Oh, Orochimaru, we meet again. Yes. Thank you for what happened last time. You are welcome. When they saw Heitake Sakumo greeting Orochimaru, Tsunade and Jiraiya were stunned. Oh, do you know each other? Yes, when did you meet? I do not know how. Haha, when Orochimaru and I were in the hospital before. Heitake Sakumo smiled and recounted how the two met. Now he is only an 11-year-old boy who looks rather shy. At this time, the Sunin didn't know him yet, just like Naruto in the original novel, who only met Hinata Niji when he took the Choyunin exam at the age of 12. Oh? Haha, I see, my name is Jiraiya, and I am this Gyayuro trademark's teammate. I hope to meet you in the next exam. Jiraiya happily greeted Sakumo Heitake. Haha, if you are really unfortunate enough to encounter it, then please be merciful. Hehe, don't worry, I won't be too harsh, Tai. Before Jiraiya could finish his words, Tsunade punched him in the head. Tsunade, what are you doing? Jiraiya covered his head and yelled in confusion, why did you hit me? Why do you have no idea why I hit you? Tsunade held her forehead with one hand and said with a look of disgust, really, you guy, can you stop bragging? Boast? Why am I bragging? Still saying? Come with me. Tsunade forced Jiraiya away, the disgust on her face not diminishing at all. Because they have all seen Heitake Sakumo's strength. If the opponent uses a sword, it is simply not something Jiraiya can defeat now. But this guy actually said shamelessly that he wouldn't be too harsh? So shameless. This guy really dares to say it. Seeing this scene, Orochimaru was not surprised. It's no wonder that Tsunade didn't like Jiraiya when she was a child. This guy is not only a jerk, but also carefree. He also likes to brag? What woman would like such a man who has no strength but is extremely frivolous? His eyes are not blind. Besides, even if someone is blind, wouldn't he choose a handsome one? So, in Tsunade's eyes. Now Jiraiya, apart from his active efforts, really has the same advantages. Haha, Orochimaru, your friend is quite interesting. Looking at Jiraiya being forcibly pulled away by Tsunade, Heitake Sakumo said with a hearty smile. He's always been like this. Well, I won't disturb you anymore. My teammates are still over there. I'll see you in the exam. Orochimaru nodded slightly and looked towards the direction where Heitake Sakumo was leaving. The two ninjas there looked like traps at first glance. Could it be that Heitake Sakumo was dragged to death by his two teammates? Damn it, Orochimaru is here too. In the corner of the classroom, a boy wearing a black shirt looked at Orochimaru at the door of the classroom and said with an unhappy expression. On his clothes, there is a red and white table tennis racket emblem. Orochimaru? Is that the kid who beat you up? Isn't that right? I was there at the time. This guy is simply a freak. He can create clones even before he graduates. A young man in the same clothes next to him echoed, that's a shadow clone. Even I don't know it now. What's this? Every ninja has something he's good at. The young man consoled him, the shadow clone can only prove that he has more chakra, it's nothing at all. That is, the battle between ninjas cannot be decided by shadow clones. That being said, this guy. Gee, don't worry. If you meet him in the exam this time, I will help you take revenge. Well, revenge? So confident? Have you not? Oh, we Uchiha are a family of geniuses. Orochimaru and the other three came to a corner of the classroom, waiting for the first round of exams to arrive. Looking around, there are all kinds of people in this classroom. Some people are talking about exams, some are talking about ninjutsu, some are talking about girls, and some are talking about missions they have participated in. Various discussions made the whole classroom extremely noisy. I don't know how long it took, but a uniformed Konoha examiner pushed open the door and entered. The noisy classroom suddenly became quiet. I am your examiner for this exam, Nakagawa. The examiner looked serious and explained the contents of the first round of exams to the students. The first round of exams is still a written exam. However, it's not a test of cheating like the original show. It's something that really tests the ninja on the battlefield. For example, leading a team to do tasks, how to deal with enemies, what emergencies occur, what choices will you make, etc. Because the war has just ended, Konoha doesn't know when the next war will break out, so the content of this assessment is all related to war. There is 1 hour to answer the paper. If you answer incorrectly, you will be eliminated. There is nothing to say. There is more than one classroom for the exam, and the candidates' names are posted on the desks in each classroom. The examiner named Nakagawa quickly finished explaining the precautions, then asked the students to find their seats and started the exam directly. The written test is a perfect score of 100, with a passing score of 60. However, 3 people in the team need to pass. Compared with cheating in the original test, such a written test is very easy for many ninjas. Of course, there are still many bad students who are not good at these. For example, Jiraiya. At this time, he was less than 10 years old, and he was careless in doing things. What kind of trap? What trick? What trap? What tactic? Don't know anything. Anyway, when you encounter an enemy, just rush up and do it. Damn it, how on earth should I do this question? The teacher didn't teach me in class. Damn it, I've never seen this question before. Did the teacher really teach it? Sure enough, Jiraiya was confused by the questions on the test paper. He scratched his head a little irritably, then looked at Orochimaru behind him, and then at Tsunade on the left. They were both working hard. I have a pen and a quick book, are there any? Is that so? Seeing Jiraiya's blinding look, Orochimaru seemed to have expected it. Therefore, he controlled the invisible fly early in the morning and landed on Jiraiya's shoulder. However, it looks like it can be 40 or 50 points, which is better than Naruto who got a blank test in the original work. Forget it, let me cheat for you. Projection. Invisible flies have two other functions. Scan, project. There are two flies, one is responsible for scanning, and after wireless transmission to the system, the other is responsible for projection. This is a very common function in modern times, but at this time, it is extremely useful. A faint light shines on Jiraiya's test paper. Ah, ah! Seeing a small line of answers suddenly appear in the blank space of his question, Jiraiya screamed as if he had seen a ghost and almost rolled off his chair. Just, what the hell is that? Bang bang! The examiner knocked on the desk with his pointer. This classmate, please don't make any noise. No, just now, just now. What's the matter with you? Another examiner came to Jiraiya. Only then did Jiraiya realize that the eyes of other students around him were all staring at him. Fine, hehe, it's okay. Jiraiya came back to his senses and immediately said haha. Fortunately, although Jiraiya was a little stunned when he was a child, he was not stupid. After a brief surprise, he quickly regained his composure. Although he didn't know what was going on, but he didn't care if it could help him pass the exam. The faint light of the invisible fly lit up again. Such a weak light was completely negligible in the daytime, and Orochimaru was still deliberately avoiding the examiner's perspective. So at this time, Jiraiya could unscrupulously copy Orochimaru's answers. Strangeness, how strange! After leaving the written examination room, Jiraiya was still wondering about what just happened. In the written test just now, it was obvious that someone was helping me. But he didn't know who it was from beginning to end. Originally, as a ninja, especially a young ninja, he was very curious. Therefore, no matter how you look at it, you should first find out the ins and outs of the matter. But there were so many students around just now, the examiner was also watching, and the time to answer the questions was coming soon, so he couldn't care less. By the time he answered the last question, he could no longer see the answer. Orochimaru, was that you just now? What? Without, nothing. Seeing Orochimaru's baffled look, Jiraiya became even more confused. Because in the situation just now, the only ones who could help him were his two teammates. Tsunade was a strength type, and her ninjutsu was also medical ninjutsu, so there was no way she could help him. But Orochimaru is different. This guy likes to study some weird things all day long. So it can only be Orochimaru, and it can only be Orochimaru. Just look at Orochimaru's appearance now. Really not you? Jiraiya still didn't believe it and asked again. What are you saying? Orochimaru suddenly said, are you talking about giving you the answer? Orochimaru said something shocking, which made Jiraiya horrified and confused. Well, so it's really you? So awesome, you, how did you do it? Jiraiya's eyes widened, with a look of disbelief on his face. Transmitting his answer to his own test paper? What kind of ninjutsu is this? This. Hey Orochimaru, what are you discussing? Orochimaru was about to speak, but Tsunade jumped out from the side and interrupted him. Tsunade, let me tell you. Faced with Tsunade's doubts, Jiraiya told Tsunade about the matter without any reservation. It seems that there is no intention to keep this secret. After listening to Jiraiya's description, Tsunade was also stunned. Okay, it's amazing. Originally, I was worried that Jiraiya would be a hindrance, but I didn't expect that now. Orochimaru, how did you do that? Nothing, just a gadget. Gadget? What gadget? Yes, what kind of thing can also transmit answers? Orochimaru, can you show us? Jiraiya and Tsunade are still children after all, and at this age, they are very curious. As soon as they heard that Orochimaru had something new, their curiosity immediately came up. It's not impossible to show it to you, but remember to keep it confidential. Hehe, promise to keep it secret. After receiving affirmative answers from the two of them, Orochimaru casually pulled out a fly and spread it on his hand. Here, this is it. Alas, is this a fly? Disgusting. Tsunade first expressed her feelings and subconsciously shrank back. What, how can an ordinary fly transmit the answer? Now, this is definitely not an ordinary fly, right, Orochimaru? Jiraiya has become much smarter this time. This is a new species I discovered that can record what it sees and then present it elsewhere. Orochimaru lied naturally, and then demonstrated it to the two of them. Anyway, he had already thought of his words when he chose to help Jiraiya cheat. The invisible fly, although it is mechanical in itself, as long as you don't hold it with your hands, it looks like an ordinary fly. Even if you look carefully, it's not easy to see the difference between the two. Therefore, Orochimaru is not afraid to tell the two of them. As for the strange function of the fly, this is nothing special. You know, there are many weird abilities in this world. The Yamanaka clan can telepathize, the Nara clan can use their shadows to fight, and the Aberme clan alone has many bugs with strange functions. Invisibility, scanning and projection. Completely it can be explained by new species. Anyway, Jiraiya and Tsunade have no research on this aspect now. Not to mention them, even many adult ninjas, even expert professors, have many insect species that they have never seen. So, Orochimaru, there is no need to worry about the problem that the two of them cannot accept. It seemed to be to confirm Orochimaru's conjecture. The two of them just supported their knees with their hands and stared at the things in Orochimaru's hands carefully. There was only curiosity in their expressions, no incomprehensible emotions. Amazing, there is such a thing? Yeah, it's incredible. It's no big deal. Orochimaru collected the flies in time. Originally I just caught them for fun, but I didn't expect that they would come in handy this time. Yeah? Hehe, it's a bit surprising to hear you say that. Not you yet, Tsunade complained. If you had paid more attention during class, would you have asked Orochimaru to help you with such trouble? I really can't listen to it. Jiraiya scratched his head in frustration. I feel like falling asleep during class because the teacher is too boring. What does that have to do with me? It has to be said that the two of them were still children after all, and their attention quickly shifted to other things. Because Orochimaru didn't tell them the true purpose of this thing, it didn't attract their attention. For them, in addition to scanning and projecting some simple pictures, it is also interesting to become invisible. But the ability to be invisible is incredible to ordinary people, but to ninjas, it is nothing at all. Most of the ninjas in the Konoha intelligence department who are responsible for gathering information are knowledgeable, and there are many animals that can become invisible. Even Jiraiya would use Turetsu when he was spying. Therefore, once the freshness wears off, they find it no longer interesting. In the afternoon, the exam continues. After the written test results are out. Well, hundreds of people were actually eliminated. Although if one person fails, the whole team will be eliminated, but this elimination number is still a bit exaggerated. I remember that among the eliminated people, there were two people whom Orochimaru knew, one was Beirahu and the other was Mat Dai. Orochimaru understands the two people's achievements very well. Mat Dai will remain a genin until the day he dies. And Beirahu? If you want to upgrade to Chunin, that's a matter of years and months. At his current age, Orochimaru couldn't think of any other adjective for participating in the Chunin selection except to make up for the numbers. Of course, Orochimaru didn't care about this anymore. Anyway, the three of them passed easily. After the written test was over, Orochimaru thought he would enter the forest of death and start snatching the scrolls of heaven and earth. But the next test was completely different from memory. Second round of exam, team battle? Yes, there are 2 rounds in total, and the loser will be eliminated directly. In other words, only a quarter of the ninjas are qualified to take the next round of exams. After hearing the news brought by Tsunade, Orochimaru couldn't help but squinted his eyes. Such a simple and crude exam was completely different from what he remembered. But it makes sense to think about it. If it were the same as the exam in the original work, then so many people would. In the case of taking the exam, this Chunin selection alone will waste a lot of time in Konoha. In this case, although some people will be unlucky and meet a strong team, there are still 2 rounds of exams, so there are still 2 rounds of exams. It cannot be regarded as unfair examination rules. Thinking of this, Orochimaru nodded slightly. That's fine, so as not to waste everyone's time. As long as they pass the written test, their battle will be to crush them. Orochimaru believes this very much. The second round of exams is held in multiple places. There are also countless examiners. Training grounds and school grounds. One of the most important places is the training ground. It is divided into 2, and there are 2 competition venues, which need to be drawn by lot. Each lottery has the name of the examiner and the classification of Group A and Group B. After drawing, just hand over your team's information and lottery to the corresponding staff. Ha ha ha, we are in Group A, and the examiner is teacher Yaliang. After Jiraiya volunteered to draw lots, he happily reported to the 2 of them. Tsunade-sensei Yura? Over there at the training ground. Let's go to the training ground. The training ground was crowded and lively. After arriving at the training ground, Orochimaru discovered that many of the people taking part in the Chunin exam were very familiar. For example, Hinata, Aberame, Inyazuka, Uchiha, Inakacho. These large families also have a large population, so their clan members are present in almost every Chunin selection exam. But, he didn't know any of them. At this time, there were already 2 groups of people playing in the field. One group, 12 or 13 years old, had a pineapple head, a red-haired fat man, and a yellow-haired boy. Their opponents were 3 unnamed Konoha ninjas. After a duel, the 2 sides quickly distanced themselves. The 3 of them started to form seals one after the other. The art of doubling, the secret art, the art of shadow imitation, the art of turning the heart. Hateful, my body can't move. Hey, Tong, what are you doing? Seeing his companion aiming the kunai at his throat, the genin looked horrified. The battle is over. Fortunately, the examiner stopped it in time and announced the result of the competition. Winner, Group A, Nara Hackle's team. The next group of contestants is Group A's team Inyazuka and Group B's team Toranashuk. Please be prepared. Yoxi, here we go, Huangguan. Woof. Whoosh whoosh. 3 people and 1 dog appeared on the playing field in an instant. These 3 people are the same as the 3 people in the previous group. They are all 12 or 13 years old. One of them has 2 canine teeth, his cheeks are painted with oil paint, his body is slightly bowed, and he is lying on the ground with 1 hand on the ground. Of the other 2 people, one wore sunglasses and the other had grey-white pupils. One on the left and one on the right stood behind him. Needless to say, you can tell just by looking at the way Orochimaru is dressed. They are members of the Inyazuka, Hinata, and Aberame clans. The members of the big families formed a team of 3, which began to form soon after the village was founded in Konoha. So Orochimaru was not surprised to see them play. On the playing field, Toranashuk's team was stunned when they saw these 3 people, and then they looked unwilling. Damn it, why did you meet them? Or, let's give up and come back for the next exam, right? There is no other way, this is the only way. Teacher, we abstain. Torinoshuk's team forfeited, the winner of Group A, Inyazuka Su's team. The next group of contestants, Group A Uchiha Team vs. Group B. Hey, why did you give up? Inyazuka Su was a little puzzled. He was originally planning to show off his skills. Let's go, maybe we are too strong. The young man wearing sunglasses said calmly. Haha, Shinjo is right. The pace of the game is fast, one team follows another. Uchiha, who was preparing to face the enemy on the field, did not realize that Orochimaru and himself were assigned the same invigilator. At this time, he was concentrating on preparing for the game. Although the current Uchiha clan is arrogant, they have not been isolated by Konoha village, so his teammates are two civilian ninjas. One of them is their classmate named Tianzuo, and the other is a little girl 1 year older than them. Their opponent was older than them, and Orochimaru couldn't name him. However, looking at the battle between the two sides, it turned out to be a one-sided situation. The Uchiha gathered together and crushed their opponents with strength. Seeing this scene, Orochimaru had to lament that compared to civilian ninjas, ninjas from big families really had too many advantages. A large amount of training resources, parents' guidance, and family inheritance. How do ordinary civilian ninjas compare? Especially Abarame, Hinata, and Inagasho. They were already stronger than civilian ninjas, but they finally got together. If civilian ninjas encountered them in a competition, they would have no choice but to consider themselves unlucky. Winner, Group A, Team Uchiha. The next group of contestants, Group A, Fenkaiu Team vs. Group B Yueling Team. Konoha Village, Country of Fire. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was wearing a god robe, was standing on the roof of the teaching building, looking quietly in the direction of the training ground. The training ground is not far from the school. From his angle, he could see the whole training ground. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen has recognized the strength of Orochimaru and the others, he still has to be present in person if the three of them want to participate in the selection. After all, the three of them are his disciples. If he wins, he will be proud of himself. If he loses, he can point out the shortcomings of several players in future training. Behind him are three elders from Konoha. Sarutobi, your disciple is about to appear. From the look of you, you seem a little worried. Xiao Haru and Mito Kaden, who went to bed, were joking with the third generation with smiles on their faces. Now that Konoha has entered a period of development, the Konoha they manage is showing a prosperous scene. Seeing this, they are naturally in a good mood. Ha ha ha, I'm not worried, I'm just looking forward to it. After hearing what the two said, Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled heartily. He knows the strength of Orochimaru and the other three best. He believes that even if they encounter those family teams in Konoha, they will never be at a disadvantage. So he is indeed looking forward to it. The performance of the three of them. Not to mention him, even Danzo next to him was looking forward to it. However, what he was looking forward to was just the performance of Orochimaru alone. Beep. At the training ground, examiner Yuliang blew the whistle that determined the outcome. Winner, Group B, Moon Spirit Team. The next group of contestants, Orochimaru's team in Group A, will face off against Sayasuke's team in Group B. Please get ready. Yoshi, Ida Euro trademark S. Finally our turn. Jiraiya waved his fist excitedly, and his whole body was extremely excited. Tsunade also moved her arms confidently. One person at a time, a quick victory. Orochimaru spoke calmly and walked into the examination room first. Tsunade, who followed behind, waved her hand casually. I have no problem, I just don't know Jiraiya. Tsunade, don't underestimate people. Orochimaru and his trio became famous during World War II. Before becoming famous, most ninjas in Konoha did not know them, let alone know that they were the disciples of the Hokage. Just like when Namikaze Minato defeated the IWA ninja in the original novel, it was already that time, and there were still many Konoha ninjas who didn't know who he was. In fact, let alone them, even in big families like Hinata and Uchiha, there are many people within the family who don't know each other. Therefore, Orochimaru's current opponents don't know them, and many of the surrounding audiences don't know them either. Because of this, they felt that this battle was not interesting. After all, in most people's minds, what exciting battles can civilian ninjas fight? Especially Orochimaru and the other two are brats, while the other three are teenagers of 15 or 16 years old. These three brats are a bit too young, right? Isn't it? At this age, he should have just graduated. Alas, it seems that this game is boring, it must be a crushing. I think so too. In the training ground, Orochimaru's team and Saushik's team are facing off. Get in position, get ready, start. Boom. Bang bang bang. It's over. Ah. How, what happened? What just happened? The examiner was confused, and the audience was also confused. At this time, they didn't understand the situation at all. They were right, this game was indeed a crushing game. It was just that Sasuke's team was crushed by Orochimaru and three people. And it was really one person. One person was solved. Tsunade punched one person away, Jiraiya subdued one person with his bare hands, and Orochimaru stood behind one person with a calm expression, holding a kunai against the person's neck. From the beginning to the end of the battle, less than 10 seconds. Good, amazing. Can anyone tell what's going on? Good, so fast. All they heard was that the examiner had just shouted start, and before Zuosuke's team could close the distance, they were already destroyed by Orochimaru and the others. Only one person reacted a little faster and threw two shurikens in a panic. But it doesn't help at all. The strength of Orochimaru and the other three was stronger than that of ordinary genin. They are no match at all. Although many ninjas know the teleportation technique, it is actually a very difficult technique for genin to master. Orochimaru knows all three of them, and he's fast. Even the slowest Jiraiya is much faster than ordinary genin. Therefore, there is no suspense in the battle at all. These three brats are quite strong. It is indeed very strong, and the teleportation technique is much faster than the three opponents. Haha, don't you know her, that girl? Girl, who is it? It's from the Senju clan. What? Thousand Hands clan? No wonder. Oh, that's not right, Piyushu, how did you know? I heard my dad say it once. I see. With Orochimaru's crushing victory among the three, the first day of competition quickly came to an end. The game continues the next day. The result is still no doubt. But this time, the opponent lasted 30 seconds. Because of the unique way of victory of Orochimaru and the others, they directly came into the eyes of the participating family teams around them. They all regarded the three of Orochimaru as a powerful enemy. On the third day, the team battle competition ended, and there were only more than 200 participants left from the 1 or 2,000 participants. Based on the calculation of 3 people per team, there are only 80 teams left in total. The teams were taken to Konoha's Forest of Death. The Death Forest has a radius of 10 kilometers and is surrounded by 44 locked entrances. There is a river in the middle and a tower in the center. The rules of this round of competition are similar to the original work. They sign a certificate of life and death. For 5 days, each team is assigned a heaven or earth scroll to snatch the scroll in the opponent's hand. Finally, they gather a pair of heaven and earth scrolls and safely enter the central tower. Consider it a win. If the previous team battle exam was a test of the ninja team's frontal combat capabilities, then this time it was a test of the team's survivability and jungle combat capabilities. Looking at the heaven scroll that was just assigned to him, Orochimaru couldn't help but narrowed his eyes. In the original work, he was the big boss of this exam, but he didn't expect to become a candidate now? Ah! How is this possible? The corner of Orochimaru's mouth curved. But Orochimaru. Orochimaru, how do we go? Just go inside. Ah? Go directly? This way we encounter a lot of unnecessary battles. It doesn't matter, an opponent of this level doesn't need tactics. Tsunade. Jiraiya. The two of them were speechless at Orochimaru's decision. Although what this guy said is true, as the captain of a small team, shouldn't you practice tactics with your teammates? However, the two of them had no time to think too much because the locked door had already been opened by the examiner. Whoosh whoosh. Countless ninjas filed in. 80 teams and 44 iron gates were divided into two groups. There is a 10-minute interval between the two teams. Orochimaru and 3 people belong to the second wave. Less than 5 minutes after running into the forest, they were surrounded by the first wave of Konoha ninjas who entered. 3 male ninjas, looking almost 20 years old. Well, I noticed you before. In order to avoid unnecessary fighting, please show your scrolls. Hehe. Hearing this, Orochimaru sneered. It seems that you are very confident in your own strength. Actually appeared in front of us openly. Hey, if we are not sure how to deal with you brats, then what qualifications do we have to participate in this Choyunin selection? Yet? Orochimaru raised his lips. That's okay, I'll just warm you up. As soon as he finished speaking, Orochimaru's seal had been formed. When he pressed his hands on the ground. Boom, a loud noise. A huge cocky python suddenly burst out of the ground and swallowed one of the Konoha ninjas who couldn't react quickly. A sudden attack, let alone the Konoha ninja who didn't understand Orochimaru. Even Tsunade and Jiraiya almost reacted. This is, what? Snake, what a big snake, damn, don't be stunned, hurry up and save someone. The giant pythons are as thick as a few people hugging each other, and are the same size as the two that Orochimaru channeled in the Forest of Death in the original novel. The scarlet letter and the cold and huge vertical pupils sent chills down the spine of anyone looking at it. Like in the original book, when Sasuke saw him for the first time, he was so scared that he couldn't walk. But now the two Konoha ninjas are not as unbearable as Sasuke due to their age, and for the sake of their companions, they no longer care so much. 2 Konoha ninjas rushed toward the giant python one after the other. But facing this terrifying giant python, their genin strength was no match for them. I saw the cocky giant python slowly raising its huge head, and then suddenly hitting the ground. Boom! Ah! There was another roar from the earth. The roar was also accompanied by the scream of a Konoha ninja. Suddenly the ground collapsed and dust flew. People will die in the Choyunin exams, that's no joke. Even if they are from the same village, one of them will be killed if they are not careful. Otherwise, the sign of life and death before entering the forest will be in vain, and the word death in the Forest of Death will not be worthy of its name. If you want to become a Choyunin, you must dare to face death. This is the only way for every ninja. This is also the reason why many genin cannot become Choyunin. If you don't have good psychological quality, you simply don't dare to take the Chunin exam, which is full of death. But, then again, even if there are ninjas who dare to take the Choyunin exam, how many of them can remain calm when facing death? Orochimaru is aware of this, but Tsunade and Jiraiya are obviously not taking this route. Orochimaru, stop it! You guy, just take the scroll, why do you want to kill people? Tsunade and Jiraiya were shocked. They are 10-year-old children now, and they can't bear to see such cannibalism. At their level, becoming a Choyunin means they are going to die. Orochimaru said nonchalantly. Doesn't entering the Forest of Death mean that you will die at any time? But we are from the same village after all. Yes, Orochimaru. Looking at the nervous and slightly excited Tsunade, Orochimaru frowned slightly. This is the Chunin exam. You can't do this in the Choyunin exams either. Orochimaru, please, stop it. Tsunade couldn't help but grabbed her arm. There were actually tears in his eyes, and he seemed to be begging. Seeing this scene, Orochimaru paused, and after a moment he sighed helplessly. Oh, well, there's really nothing we can do about you. After saying this, he ignored the two of them and slowly walked toward him. The giant python that came out of the channel walked over. The two Konoha ninjas outside are not dead yet, but one was seriously injured by the giant python's head, and the other was too scared to move. Orochimaru glanced at him. Even his hands holding the kunai could not help but tremble. Orochimaru ignored him and looked at the cocky giant python with its huge head raised. The giant python cooperated and crawled its head down. "Open your mouth!" Hiss! The cocky giant python spat out the message, and then opened its bloody mouth obediently. Orochimaru raised his hand, and countless flower pythons as thick as arms came out from his hand and got in along the way, into the giant python's mouth. Soon, the Konoha ninja who was swallowed was forcibly pulled out by these flower pythons. Since the swallowing time was not particularly long, the ninja has not lost consciousness yet. This time at that time, his body was covered with snake saliva, his face looked painful, and his whole body was trembling. "Haha, with this level of strength, do you dare to blatantly grab the scroll? I really don't know whether to live or die." After Orochimaru said this, he waved his hand, and the cocky python turned into a puff of white smoke and disappeared. Whoosh! Almost at the same time, two figures appeared next to Orochimaru. Tsunade quickly squatted down to check the man's face. "Injury? Tsunade, how are you?" Hearing this, Tsunade, who had checked her injuries, breathed a sigh of relief. Okay, it's not life-threatening. Yet? That's good." Jiraiya was so frightened that he collapsed on the ground. "Damn it, Orochimaru, let me ask you, can you not be so murderous? Don't you know how scary you are?" Tsunade also raised her head and looked at Orochimaru with a puzzled expression. "Orochimaru, what's going on with you? They just asked us to show them the scroll. Why did you kill them directly?" "I'm not, yet, what's going on?" Hearing the doubts of the two teammates, Orochimaru also reacted. "The other party is from his own village, and they just asked for a scroll. Why would I want to kill them? With his own strength, it would be very easy to snatch their scrolls without any harm. Why would he directly have murderous intentions? There's a problem." Orochimaru frowned. "Could it be that it's a problem with the Sharingan?" "No, absolutely not. With my current physique, I can definitely resist the 3 Megatama Sharingan. Even if I can't resist it, I won't be so murderous. If it wasn't the Sharingan, what could it be?" Thinking of this, Orochimaru frowned even more tightly. "Could it be that I'm schizophrenic?" Getting this answer, Orochimaru himself felt a little incredible. Is it really schizophrenia? Phew, sorry. Orochimaru let out a long breath and tried to calm down. At the same time, he sat down cross-legged. He had hatred in his heart and could be inhumane, but it must not be schizophrenia. Absolutely not. Therefore, it must be solved immediately. Tsunade and Jiraiya were stunned when they heard Orochimaru's apology. When they saw Orochimaru's actions, they both wondered at the same time. What the hell is this guy doing? But no matter what Orochimaru does, they can only help Orochimaru now. Alert! Ninjas can enter their own consciousness space, and ninjas with 3 Megatama Sharingan can even enter other people's consciousness space by looking at each other with their eyes. Therefore, it is not a big deal that Orochimaru can enter his own consciousness space. He had come in before when he was practicing, but he didn't pay attention to anything else. But now, the space of consciousness was dark, and he couldn't see what was going on around him. Only the water stains under his feet were ticking. But this doesn't affect Orochimaru. Sharingan. Orochimaru's golden vertical pupils instantly turned scarlet, and everything around him gradually became clear as the Sharingan opened. Because of its powerful spiritual power, the Sharingan has a very special function in addition to the most basic insights, copying and hypnosis. That's night vision. In dark places, you can see more clearly than ordinary eyes. After opening the Sharingan, Orochimaru's consciousness space seemed to become brighter. But that's only true of the places around him. He walked forward slowly, his red pupils scanning every corner of the conscious space. The conscious space seems to be very large, and nothing can be seen in it except the water on the ground. There is no nine tails sealed in his body, so there is no iron cage or anything like that. Did you guess wrong? Looking at the empty consciousness space, Orochimaru said with some doubts. But after calming down and thinking carefully, he still firmly believed in his idea. His own thinking will not be affected for no reason. Since it is affected, the Sharingan must be excluded. If so, then there must be something wrong with the consciousness space. Just like Naruto, it's the same when Kyuubi is under influence. Just when he thought of this, Orochimaru suddenly stopped. Because he saw a black figure. The figure was sitting on a dark step. When he saw Orochimaru locking himself, he grinned. Unexpectedly, it was discovered so quickly. His voice was low and full of mockery. Sure enough. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes. Are you the original Orochimaru? No, no, the original Orochimaru's will has long been gone. Then you, is it really my other personality? No, no, I am the darkness deep in your heart. The darkness deep within. Orochimaru's eyes gradually turned cold. Yes, I am you. It's the indispensable dark part of your heart. After saying this, the black shadow stood up slowly, and then walked slowly towards Orochimaru. Gradually, a boy who looked and dressed exactly like Orochimaru appeared in front of him. The only difference, yes, this Orochimaru has black eyes and red pupils. Seeing the young man in front of him who was exactly the same as himself, Orochimaru frowned. At this moment, he suddenly thought of the original story of Naruto on Turtle Island. The real waterfall, the scene when I saw my other self. It was exactly the same as my current situation. Is this thing transformed based on my current image? It's hard to imagine that you could detect my presence so quickly. Is it because of you that I am so murderous? Orochimaru said calmly. Certainly. Orochimaru with black eyes said nonchalantly. Anyway, you have sworn not to be a good person anymore. Your goal is to unify the ninja world, isn't it? So what? So, does the life and death of others have anything to do with us? We should kill them all, we should hate this world and eradicate all ninjas. Dark Orochimaru's voice stopped abruptly. At this time, he looked in disbelief at the white hand on his neck and the pythons that trapped him. Orochimaru pinched his neck, with a sneer on his lips. And you shouldn't exist at all. How can it be? Why, I can't predict your moves, I am you. Because my darkness doesn't need to be hidden. I can kill people if I want, I don't need you to teach me. Although I don't know why you appear in my consciousness, one body only needs one consciousness. You? Better disappear. As soon as he finished speaking, Orochimaru's right hand suddenly exerted force. Outside, Orochimaru's body sitting cross-legged suddenly shook, and at the same time he frowned, with a look of pain on his face. Orochimaru, what's wrong with you? Looking at Orochimaru with a painful look on his face, Tsunade was shocked. Jiraiya, who was standing aside to be on guard, was surprised and a little confused at the same time. What did this guy do suddenly? Call. Orochimaru raised his hand to cover his head, gasping for breath. No, fine. It's hard to imagine that after solving another self, the spiritual power will be counterattacked. But, it feels much better. This feeling cannot be explained, but, it's just great. Are you really okay? Tsunade was still a little worried. Orochimaru took a deep breath, feeling much better, and then lied naturally. Well, it's just, chakras suddenly became disordered. Chakra disorder? Tsunade was stunned for a moment, then looked surprised. Did you fall under an illusion before? I don't know, but that doesn't matter anymore. During the conversation, Orochimaru's consciousness had recovered to 70% or 80%. You should take a look at their scrolls first. I've seen it a long time ago, it's the same scroll of heaven as us. Jiraiya, who had been silent for the whole time, opened his mouth to explain. Orochimaru stood up with his knees on his hands, his expression indifferent. The scroll of the sky? Okay, then just destroy it. Destroy, ruined it? Certainly. As he said that, Orochimaru glanced at the other 3 Konoha ninjas. Do you still expect them to be promoted to Chunin? The 3 Konoha ninjas, the only one who was slightly injured, have not yet recovered from the shock. But in this case, there will be another team that will not be able to complete the mission. What does this have to do with us? Orochimaru said calmly. Did I say that you are a little too kind? The battle between ninjas is inherently cruel. Even if they are eliminated, it can only be blamed on their lack of skill. After dealing with his other self, Orochimaru, who recovered, felt that his brain's thoughts were clearer than before. It seemed that he had less murderous intent and more sense. Perhaps, you are right, to advance to Chunin, you should rely on your own strength, and you should not expect charity from others, but, Tsunade said this and looked up into Orochimaru's eyes. Orochimaru, can you promise me not to kill anyone as soon as we meet? The way you looked just now was really scary. To kill, even if it's a ninja killing, there must be a reason, right? On the battlefield, there is nothing wrong with fighting each other when we meet. When doing an assassination mission, there is nothing wrong with sniping the mission target. But in normal times, you kill people at every turn? This kind of person can only be a madman or a murderer. Even if it's the Chunin exam, just to snatch the scroll, you won't kill someone when you meet them, right? You know, everyone is from the same village. With their strength, they can easily seize the scroll without killing anyone. Don't worry, it won't happen again. Hearing Tsunade's words, Orochimaru took a deep breath and glanced at the 2 of them. Let's go, let's continue to find the target. Seeing Orochimaru agreed, the 2 of them didn't think too much and quickly followed Orochimaru's footsteps. At this time, they didn't pay attention. Orochimaru was flying, and the corner of his eyes was staring at a few people not far behind them. There are several big trees. Behind several big trees, there are several figures shivering. What's going on with this guy? Behind a big tree, a young man with a pineapple head said with a frightened face. At this time, he was leaning against the big tree, and his whole body could not help but tremble. Behind the other 2 big trees, there were 2 figures. A fat man with red hair and a thin man with yellow hair. The situation of the 2 of them is similar to what he is now. There is no doubt that Inoshika Butterfly is a member of the 3 well-known families in Konoha, the Yamanaka, Nara, and Akimichi clans. The 3 of them entered the entrance of the forest and were adjacent to Orochimaru and the others. After entering, they found a hiding place not far from where Orochimaru was ambushed. The sound of the giant python caught their attention. Then they couldn't bear it. Out of curiosity, they lurked over. Then, they saw the scene of Orochimaru using the latent snake hand to pull out the swallowed Konoha ninja. The terror of the giant python left an indelible mark in their hearts. The shadow. They simply couldn't imagine how a 10-year-old kid could have so much chakra to channel such a huge python. Terrible, that guy. Yes, it is simply not something we can compete with. Seeing Orochimaru and the others walking away, the fat man Akimichi and the thin man Yamanaka sat down on the ground and said one after the other. From their tone, you can hear the fear deep in their hearts. Although they are leaders trained by their families, can be regarded as outstanding, but Inoshika Butterfly is not known for its destructive power. Facing a terrifying psychic beast like Orochimaru, they now have no power to fight back. If Orochimaru wants to attack them, it is estimated that I can only give out the scroll obediently. Fortunately, this guy doesn't seem to be interested in us. Nara Pushu also breathed a sigh of relief. Otherwise, we will be doomed. Hey, Pushu, what should we do now? Hide here for a while and wait until that guy is far away. Really, I really don't know what kind of monster this guy is and how he has so much chakra to use psychic techniques. Who knows? Orochimaru, do you have so much more chakra than me? After seeing that Orochimaru had really recovered, Jiraiya turned his attention to the giant python just now. The larger the psychic object, the more chakra it consumes. This is common sense. With the size of the giant python just now, if Jiraiya wanted to channel a toad of the same size, he would probably use up all his chakra. No ninja would have the luxury of using up all his chakra with just one channeling technique, so he has reason to believe that when Orochimaru channeled the snake, the chakra consumption was definitely less than half. Is it weird? Orochimaru-dan. Of course it's strange. Jiraiya said matter-of-factly, Guy's training route is obviously not body training, but now, even if he has more chakra than me, he still has so much more chakra? It's obviously not normal. Yes, Orochimaru, I'm surprised. Tsunade also agreed. Orochimaru has no special family bloodline and has not undergone any special training. But this guy's chakra amount is so much more than that of Jiraiya, who often trains alone. Anyone would doubt it. Hearing what the two said, Orochimaru was helpless. Sure enough, this kind of thing cannot be hidden. What do you mean? Actually, it's nothing. This is just my latest research and development, but it is currently in the experimental stage. The latest thing developed, what? Can it increase the amount of chakra? The two of them are a little incredible. Because they still don't know that besides practicing, there are other ways to increase chakra. Good. Orochimaru nodded slightly. This is the next technology he plans to contribute, so it doesn't matter if he lets the two of them know in advance. What? How can it be? The two of them exclaimed at the same time. But as soon as they said the words, they felt that they were wrong. Because of Orochimaru's situation, they could not explain. How is it impossible? Orochimaru said calmly, do you think you can become stronger only by practicing? Tsunade. Jiraiya. Isn't it true that only by practicing can one become stronger? At this time, they wanted to say this. But when the words came to their lips, they swallowed them down. Because Orochimaru himself is a living example. And after so long, they have gradually begun to get used to Orochimaru. All kinds of miracles that have appeared on his body. He began to study human genes at the age of 6, and later developed a popular healing potion called Super Recovery Potion. Now, he said that he is researching potions that can enhance the amount of chakra. It seems that isn't that unacceptable? You guys are such a monster. After thinking about this, Jiraiya no longer struggled. But there was still a slight imbalance in his heart. Originally, in the understanding of all ninjas, ninjas can only gain stronger power by practicing. But this guy seems to have been using scientific research to take shortcuts. This completely subverts their worldview. The most devastating thing for people is that what they have always believed in is suddenly broken. Just like people in the past always believed that the earth was flat, but suddenly one day he was told that it is the same as a circle. This is a collapse of belief. Now Jiraiya and Tsunade are also like this. They both firmly believe that as long as they practice hard, they can become strong. But Orochimaru said, is there any other way to become stronger? Are you going to let people live? Monster, hehe. Orochimaru saw the appearance of the two people and seemed to guess what they were thinking. Actually, this is not a big deal. What about you? Don't think it's unfair, because there is no fairness in this world. Just like you, Tsunade, you are several years ahead of others when you are born, and as time goes by, the gap between you will become wider and wider. Do you think this is fair to other ninjas? It seems that it is indeed unfair. Jiraiya muttered. Okay, you are right. Tsunade was also speechless, and then changed the topic. But, is the effect of this thing you studied so good? Can it directly change a person's physique and increase the amount of chakra? Will there be any side effects? Hearing this, Jiraiya was also a little skeptical. It's medicine that is poisonous. Ordinary medicines will have more or less side effects. The more powerful the medicine, the greater the side effects. Moreover, he always believes that medicine can. How can the improved strength be as reliable as one's own practice? This is his perception, and it is also the perception of most people. Orochimaru said calmly, I will explain this to you later. Why later? Because an enemy is coming. Enemy. Hearing Orochimaru's words, Tsunade was stunned for a moment, then reacted quickly and quickly stood up with Jiraiya. The two of them drew out a kunai at the same time and made a defensive posture. Where is the enemy? Who is it? Come out quickly. Master Jiraiya has discovered you. Seeing the vigilant looks on their faces, Orochimaru said, don't worry, the enemy will have to wait a while. What? Really, can you finish the sentence in one go? That's it, it made me excited for nothing. Tsunade and Jiraiya were speechless. It can be seen that this exam is extremely easy for them. They will not underestimate the enemy, but they will only become serious when they encounter a strong enemy. Just like Jiraiya, even though he is usually careless and like an idiot, he is also extremely lustful and seems useless. But at the critical moment, this guy will never deceive his teammates. Oh, by the way, Orochimaru. Tsunade suddenly thought of something. Speaking of discovering the enemy, I remember you just said that there is a ninja team behind us. Just now, she and Jiraiya were shocked by Orochimaru's giant python, so they didn't pay attention to the surrounding situation. Because of this, they didn't know that there was a ninja team not far from them. Good. Since you just noticed someone behind us, why don't you try to grab their scroll? Is this completely different from what you did before? Want to know? Seeing Tsunade nodding, Orochimaru replied calmly, actually, it's nothing, just because I suddenly felt a lot better just now, so I let them go. A good mood. Tsunade's head was filled with black threads. What if you are in a good mood all the time and no one comes out to look for us along the way? The mission is not completed. Do you think that's possible? Orochimaru didn't answer the question. For the Chunin exam, as long as you appear in this forest, someone will definitely come looking for you. Tsunade, I also think your question is nonsense. Jiraiya said seriously, and then started to die. People say big breasts are brainless, how come you are so brainless when you have flat chest? Weren't you like this before? After saying that, he pretended to touch his chin, pretending to be thinking about life. Tsunade was angry at Jiraiya's words and clenched her fists, with the veins on her forehead exposed. Jiraiya, you are looking for death. Hello, hey, there are enemies around, don't mess around. When Jiraiya saw Tsunade getting angry, he immediately gave in. But Tsunade couldn't control that much, so she wanted to go up and beat him. But just when Tsunade was about to beat Jiraiya, a voice suddenly rang. Stand up. Oh, this is the Choyunin exam, do you think you are just playing house? Who? Tsunade, who was interrupted, shouted angrily in displeasure. Orochimaru also stood up slowly. The next second. Whoosh whoosh. 3 teenagers jumped down from the tree and appeared in the surrounding sky one after another. The ground naturally formed a triangle shape, surrounding Orochimaru and the 3 of them. Seeing the 3 teenagers appear, Orochimaru was not surprised at all, because in this environment, every time he went to a place to rest, he would put 6. The fly was released to monitor the surrounding situation. Coupled with his own perception ability, he had already discovered the whereabouts of the 3 people. The 3 people who landed on the ground were all about 13 years old. And judging from the clan emblem, the person taking the lead was an Uchiha. Are you Orochimaru? Before fighting, do you still need to talk to relatives? Orochimaru looked indifferent, and Tsunade next to him suddenly lost all his anger, and almost couldn't help but laugh. Even Jiraiya was stunned. This guy can actually talk to people? After hearing Orochimaru's words, Akibo-yan's eyes turned cold. Boy, it seems you are really arrogant. He is a descendant of the Uchiha clan. He is 13 years old this year. One of his purposes here is to discover the whereabouts of Orochimaru and the others and come to snatch the scroll. The other is to help the Uchiha clan take revenge. He and the Uchiha clan, in fact, the relationship can only be considered average, but the Uchiha clan has a strong sense of family honor. So if the Uchiha clan has been bullied, he naturally has to bully him back. Well, in the end, it is still him Uchiha. His competitive spirit was at work. When he heard Uchiha say how awesome Orochimaru was, he, as a boy from the Genius clan, was naturally dissatisfied. Genius? No matter how genius you are you as talented as me, the Uchiha clan? Although he is also 13, he hasn't become a Chunin yet, but that's for a reason. So, he doesn't think Orochimaru is his opponent. That's it, boy, do you think you are strong? He's just a wild boy without parents, what's so arrogant about him? Uchiha-en's two teammates couldn't help but ridicule. And judging from the meaning of their words, it seems that they have also conducted an investigation on Orochimaru? Otherwise, how would you know that Orochimaru has no parents? Hearing this, Orochimaru frowned. Tsunade and Jiraiya were shocked. The three of them had been together for a long time, and of course they knew that Orochimaru had no parents. But as teammates, they usually try to avoid this topic when chatting. Jiraiya he still remembered the terrifying aura exuding from this guy when he first said that Orochimaru had no parents. He had every reason to believe that Orochimaru would have done something to him if Tsunade had not been there to mediate. However, this time, it seems to be an exception. After hearing this, Orochimaru did not release his breath immediately, but looked at the leading Uchiha boy with an expressionless face. "May I have your name?" "Uchiha, Fire," Uchiha Yan said proudly. As Uchiha, Shamat, Long Aotian are synonymous with them. Is it really okay to be so overconfident? Not overestimating your capabilities. Hearing this, Uchiha-en's eyes flashed, and he immediately held the handle of the knife behind his back. "Boy, you are looking for death." After saying that, he smoothly pulled out his ninja sword. And his two teammates also pulled out their own kunai. Orochimaru's arrogance has made him no longer want to confirm whether the mission scroll is a match. First take care of this kid before talking about it. Phew! A figure flashed past, and Orochimaru's figure disappeared first. So fast! Uchiha Yan couldn't help but be stunned. Although Uchiha-en had watched the three of them compete before, he also had a certain understanding of their teleportation techniques. But after watching it, being there is another experience. But fortunately, he reacts quickly, and defense is much easier than offense. As long as you avoid the opponent's initial burst of speed, the subsequent battle will be much easier. He believed this. However, just when he wanted to defend himself, he discovered that Orochimaru was not here to attack him. Instead, attack his teammates? I don't know when he had a kunai in his hand? No, murderous! Uchiha Yan was horrified. Murderous aura, isn't it a kind of aura that only appears when someone has killed someone? Has this guy already killed someone? How old is this kid? However, his thoughts only lasted a moment. At this time, there was no time to react too much, because he believed that if he did not save this teammate, his teammate would definitely die. In Konoha village, killing ninjas in one's own village is equivalent to betraying the village. But the Chunin exam is an exception. Because the ninja career is cruel, a certain mortality rate is allowed in the Chunin exam. For Uchiha-en, it doesn't matter if his teammates die, but after his teammates die, he will also be eliminated. Therefore, this teammate must want to save. Whoosh! The same quick teleportation technique blocked his teammates. Damn it, don't underestimate people. King! The kunai and the ninja sword collided together, making a metallic crunching sound. What a strong force! Uchiha-en, who held the knife in both hands, was even more horrified. Is this guy not only very fast, but also so powerful? Damn it, I can't retain my strength. Thinking of this, Uchiha-en's eyes flashed, and with the help of Orochimaru's kunai strength, he protected his teammates and quickly flew back. On the way back, the dark eyes instantly turned into scarlet. Sharingan, open! Latent shadow snake hand. Almost at the same time, countless flower pythons flew out of Orochimaru's hands and went straight to the retreating Uchiha-en. Uchiha-en's eyes widened, and his scarlet pupils turned instantly. Suddenly these giant pythons were like slow motion. The same thing appeared in his eyes. Uchiha-en twisted his body, and in a strange posture, he avoided the bites of several flower pythons. However, although he avoided it, the teammate behind him things didn't go so smoothly. His teammates were not weak at first, but the battle just happened so fast that even Jiraiya and Tsunade next to them didn't even react, let alone him. Nani! The fangs of countless flower pythons pierced his skin, and then he felt a powerful force coming from the snake's body. So, he flew towards Orochimaru uncontrollably. Orochimaru! Etc. Seeing this, Tsunade and Jiraiya were shocked, thinking that Orochimaru was up again. But the next second, Orochimaru's movement made him sigh in relief. Because while he was using the latent shadow snake hand, he threw the kunai in his hand towards Uchiha-en. But he just hit the man in the face with his fist. Bang! The fist hit the face. The next second. Phew! The man looked like he was being discharged. Like a cannonball, it ejected directly. Boom! The ground was rubbed by the opponent's body, pulling out a trench of more than 10 meters. The surroundings were filled with smoke and dust. Finally, it hit a tree in the distance, making a loud noise. Orochimaru's power, I haven't practiced it deliberately, but because I have strengthened my physique, it can definitely be called a heavy punch. No matter who it is, it will definitely not be uncomfortable to be hit by such a punch in the face. Good, amazing. Another teammate of Uchiha-en was so surprised that he was speechless. This guy is not only so fast, but also has a punch that is so powerful. Don't be dazed. Uchiha-en, who blocked Orochimaru kunai, shouted angrily. The man suddenly woke up. But when he reacted, it was already too late. Because under his feet, it had turned into a swamp. Earth release. Yellow Spring Marsh is Jiraiya? Hey, when facing the enemy, you can't be in a daze. Damn it, how could this happen? Whoosh! Before he could struggle, a beautiful figure appeared above his head. Look at the punch, drink. Tsunade punched out in the air. He had no time to fight back and could only block with his hands crossed. But with his feet in the swamp, how could he block Tsunade's punch? Bang! Powerful force, and directly smashed him out of Jiraiya's swamp. One punch made him follow in the footsteps of his companions, and also made him lose the ability to continue fighting. So, what was originally a 3v3 battle instantly turned into a 3v1. Are you finally willing to take action? After Orochimaru dealt with one person, he did not rush to deal with Uchiha-en, but turned his attention to Jiraiya and Tsunade. The two of them have not made a move since entering the Forest of Death. As long as you don't kill people randomly, I can say anything. Chakra condensed on Tsunade's feet, she stepped on the swamp, clapped her palms, and said with a smile. As Orochimaru's teammates, they knew that after being pulled by Orochimaru's latent snake hand, the enemy would be there. There is no way to borrow force from the air. At this time, Orochimaru only needs to send the kunai into the heart of the enemy. But Orochimaru did not do this just now, but temporarily replaced the kunai with a fist. This alone, which is enough to prove that Orochimaru is still the Orochimaru in her heart. That's why they joined the battle without hesitation. After hearing what Tsunade said, Orochimaru said calmly, so afraid that I will kill someone. It's okay to kill enemies, but they are our own people, and it's just an exam. Tsunade didn't finish her words, but she believed that Orochi could understand what she meant. Is that so? I see. Damn it, do you think I don't exist? Seeing the two people chatting unscrupulously, Uchiha-en was furious. The Uchiha clan is most proud of their talents. Their powerful spiritual power allows them to control chakra better than their peers. But now, during the battle, he was actually ignored by three brats smaller than himself? This is simply unbearable. How? Do you still want to hit three of us alone? Jiraiya crossed his arms and said with a mocking expression. Uchiha-en has a Sharingan, and he also saw it, but what does it matter? A pair of Sharinon can kill the three of them? Hearing that, Jiraiya if so, then looking at his two fallen teammates, Uchiha-en felt awe-inspiring in his heart. Yes, there are three people on the opposite side now? Judging from the combat power the opponent just showed, he has no chance of winning. Thinking of this, Uchiha-en quickly made a decision in his heart. Hey, although I am very reluctant, there is no other way. I will give you the scroll and let me and my teammates leave. As he spoke, he took out the scroll in his hand and carefully placed it on the ground. Scroll of Earth. Seeing the scroll that Uchiha-en took out and placed on the ground, Tsunade and Jiraiya felt happy. What they had on them was the scroll of heaven. Now that they have the scroll of Earth, their mission is completed. Next, it only takes 3 people to arrive at the central tower together. You know, this is the first day of the mission. It is definitely a pride for them to be the first to reach the central tower. And take out the Earth Scroll. Uchiha-en was very unwilling, but what could he do if he was unwilling? Who told him to come to trouble Orochimaru without fully investigating the information? The 3 Konoha ninjas were almost killed by Orochimaru because they underestimated the enemy. Now, he also left 2 of his teammates half dead because he underestimated the enemy. This was the price he paid for underestimating the enemy, and he couldn't blame others. For this reason, facing the strength of Orochimaru and the others, he did not hesitate to contribute his Earth Scroll. He used the Scroll of Earth in exchange for his own safety. As long as he leaves here, with his Uchiha fire ability, it is easy to pass this round of exams to seize the 2 scrolls again. But will Orochimaru give him a chance? Obviously not. Seizing scrolls or something is not that important to him at all. What is important is that he is not in a good mood now. If he is not in a good mood, someone has to pay the price. Come when you want and leave when you want? I'm afraid it's not that easy. Orochimaru said with a very calm expression. He didn't even look at the Earth Scroll on the ground. Orochimaru, what do you mean? Uchiha-en's eyes turned cold. He felt that he had been embarrassed enough now. Not only did he bully the small ones, but he was also forced to hand over the Earth Scroll. Is NT this enough? Does this guy also want to use his own dignity, rub it on the ground? Means nothing. Orochimaru glanced lightly at the Konoha ninja who mocked him for not having parents. The ninja's front teeth were gone, and now he had lost his fighting ability. His face was covered in blood and he was leaning against the tree trunk and twitching. He's gotten his comeuppance, but you haven't. Orochimaru said calmly. The meaning was also obvious. The guy who just laughed at him was not only disabled, but also had his front teeth knocked out. But as the team leader, you are not injured at all. This is obviously inappropriate. Listen. When it came to Orochimaru, Tsunade and Jiraiya kept silent. From their point of view, it was these guys who mocked Orochimaru for not having parents first. As long as Orochimaru didn't kill anyone, he could do whatever he wanted. Good. Especially Tsunade, she is originally from the Senju clan. Senju and Uchiha have never been very friendly. Although the 2 races are still in the same village, people from the 2 families usually meet on the road. Sometimes, you can see some hostility in the eyes of the other party. Even if the hostility is not that, at least they will maintain the indifference they should have. Like these exams, as long as the 2 sides meet, they will win. Negative. There will be no fighting in the open, but there will be no less secretly. Therefore, seeing that Orochimaru is only embarrassing Uchiha-en, she naturally has no reason to stop him. What do you want? Yuji endured the anger in his heart. 2 of his teammates were injured. If he wants to complete the assessment, he must take away the 2 teammates. He is now alone and wants to take away the 2. If the other party does not agree, he couldn't leave at all. This is why people have to bow their heads under the eaves. Orochimaru suddenly raised the corners of his mouth. Give yourself 2 slaps, and then you can leave. Hateful, Orochimaru, don't bully others too much. Uchiha Yan roared. At this time, he was already on the verge of going berserk. A civilian ninja who is smaller than himself still wants to force himself to slap? This is impossible. It is impossible in this life. The arrogance of the Uchiha clan does not allow them to suffering this great humiliation. Orochimaru didn't care and ignored the other party's anger. Don't you want to? Okay, then let's fight until the end. Then let's fight. Uchiha Yan shouted angrily, and he clenched the knife in his hand without hesitation. With 1 against 3, there was no fear. Orochimaru seemed to have expected it, and slowly made a gesture to Jiraiya and Tsunade. The gesture was to tell them not to interfere. Seeing this gesture, Tsunade and Jiraiya were stunned for a moment, and then shook their heads helplessly. They knew that when there was only one enemy, Orochimaru would not allow others to interfere. This was his own battle. Forest of Death. 3 people and 1 dog were running on the branches. Everyone can stop for a moment. The boy with the dog suddenly stopped and gestured to the 2 people behind him. According to the previous situation, the sound came from the front. Raiwichi, let's take a look first. Learn. The boy named Raiwichi has black hair and white eyes. Hearing the words of the boy with the dog in front of him, he immediately raised an index finger in front of himself. White eyes. Buzz. Veins popped up around Hinata Raiwichi's grey eyes, which seemed to be able to see through everything. His grey pupils looked forward across many obstacles. His name was Hyaga Raiwichi, a descendant of the Hyaga branch. The ability he used was the bloodline limit of the Hyaga clan, the Byakugan. The Byakugan originated from the Otsutsuki clan. It has a 360-degree viewing angle. Not only that, it also has special functions such as telescope, perspective, and insight. What he uses at this time is the telescope function of the Byakugan. Using chakra, the original ability of the eye can be improved countless times, thus it can penetrate many obstacles and see places 1 kilometer away. This is a pair of strategic eyes. Its detection and counter-reconnaissance capabilities are definitely among the best in the entire Naruto world. In terms of light insight, its effect is better than Sharingan. The eyes are still strong. These are the eyes that Orochimaru wants to get but has no chance to get. It's them. Seeing the scene 1 kilometer away, Hinata Raiwichi couldn't help but be stunned. Who? The good 3-person team that was in the same examination room as us before. You mean, the one named Orochimaru? Who are their opponents? It seems like it's Uchiha-en's team. Uchiha Flames? Haha, I didn't expect to get a bargain when I first arrived. Not bad, not bad. When they defeat both sides, we can go over and reap the benefits. Let's go over first. Etc. Su. Hyaga Raiwichi quickly stopped the 2 of them. What's wrong? Don't go, the battle is over. When he heard that the battle was over, Inyazuka Tsumugi was stunned at first, and then became excited. Finished? Haha, tell me, which team won? Team Orochimaru. Hyaga Raiwichi carefully watched the battle ahead and said with a solemn expression. Really? Inyazuka Su's eyes lit up, and he didn't care at all about the solemn tone in Hinata Raiwichi's tone. Haha, this Orochimaru is really powerful, he even defeated Uchiha-en? However, I think they also narrowly defeated it, right? Well, the chakra should be almost consumed. Now is the best time to seize the scroll. Shinjo, Raiwichi, let's go. Don't waste your efforts, Su. Hyaga Raiwichi looked serious. Inyazuka Su was stunned. Huh? What's wrong? Hyaga Raiwichi said in a deep voice their battle was a crushing one. It was the same crushing as the previous frontal team battle. The Uchiha-en team didn't even have the strength to fight back. Not to mention the chakra consumption, there is not even a hint of fatigue. Not even able to fight back? Inyazuka Su was shocked. How can it be? Uchiha-en is the genius in the next class. He couldn't believe what Hinata Raiwichi said. Because Uchiha-en was at the same time as them, he knew the strength of his fighting power very well. Moreover, he had also seen Uchiha-en fighting during the team competition before. This guy's the small team also crushed the opponent at that time. Logically speaking, when two strong teams meet, there will definitely be sparks. The best result is that one side will win by a narrow margin. But unexpectedly, they are still being crushed now? This is it's incredible. Buzz! A large insect flapped its wings and quickly flew back from the jungle ahead. Shinjo Aberame, who was wearing sunglasses next to him, stretched out his index finger. The insect flew up obediently, stopped. So strong? We are no match, retreat. Aberame Shinjo said these words very decisively. The three of them belong to the Real Perception team. In terms of tracking, the Inyazuka family dog is definitely the strongest among the three. But after tracking the target, confirming the target in this situation, we still have to rely on the abilities of the Hinata and Aberame clans. So when Inyazuka-su heard both teammates saying this, he immediately chose to believe his teammates. It's just that. What, you've come this far, why don't you go and take a look? Inyazuka-su was still a little unwilling. Although he believed in his teammates, the child's curiosity still made him want to go over and have a look. After hearing Inyazuka-su's words, Aberame Shinjo thought for a moment, and then spoke calmly after a moment. If you just look at it from a distance, there should be a problem, but it is best not to conflict with them. I agree with Shinjo. They should have collected the mission scrolls by now. If they have to go there, as long as they don't get too close, there should be no problem. What are you waiting for? Let's go. With that said, the three of them nodded to each other and ran forward again. On the other side, Uchiha-en was clutching his chest and lying on the ground with a look of pain on his face. At this time, he was filled with confusion. He couldn't understand at all why he saw the other party's movements but couldn't avoid them. Moreover, there are some ninjutsu that I can't even see through with my own eyes. What's going on? At this time, Orochimaru, who had beaten him, was looking at him quietly. Although you have Sharingan, one Megatama is too weak. Forget it, let's go. After that, he waved to Tsunade and Jiraiya casually, and ignored the Uchiha flame lying on the ground. The battle with Uchiha flame just now was actually not very complicated. Orochimaru just used my own speed is just matched with those ninjutsu that do not require sealing. Although Granny Cho in the original book once said that when dealing with the Sharingan, you must escape one-on-one. In other words, there is no chance of winning in a one-on-one battle with the Sharingan. But Orochimaru has many ways to deal with the Sharingan. One is to block the line of sight, such as the Kirigakuer Jutsu in Kirigakuer village. As long as the concentration of the fog reaches a certain level and the Sharingan cannot see it, it will lose its due effect. One is the absolute speed, such as the Flying Thunder God, the 8-gate armor and the Raikage Thunder armor. This type of technique is so fast that even the Sharingan cannot catch it. There is another, is the Tailed Beast. The chakra formed by the Tailed Beast can act independently, and the Sharingan cannot predict it at all. Therefore, it is not too easy for Orochimaru to deal with the Sharingan. Of course, now Orochimaru obviously doesn't know these three. He uses the fourth method. That is the taijutsu used by Xiaoli when he fights Sasuke. He makes his taijutsu so fast that the opponent's eyes can see it. But the body can't keep up. Uchiha-en is not too old, and he is not majoring in taijutsu. In addition, the catching ability of the Megatama Sharingan is limited. So Orochimaru, who has strengthened his body twice, uses it's easy to do this with your own wind attribute chakra. Use techniques that don't require sealing, such as the latent snake hand to disrupt your thinking, and win the Uchiha flames easily and happily. Originally, dealing with Uchiha for an opponent of En's level, Orochimaru doesn't need to bother so much. He only needs to use his Sharingan. 3 Megatama versus 1 Megatama, even just looking at each other is enough to win. But something like the Sharingan, Orochimaru didn't belong to him. So he didn't want to reveal that he had the Sharingan unless he had to. Looking at the two scrolls in Orochimaru's hand, Tsunade smiled calmly. The primary task is completed, let's go directly now Central Tower. If you don't rush, we can do something interesting. Interesting thing? What's the matter? My idea is this. Orochimaru slowly stated his thoughts. After hearing this plan, Jiraiya instantly became excited. Well? This is a good plan, haha, I like it. Tsunade, what about you? Hehe, you are my boyfriend, of course I listen to you. Male, boyfriend. When Jiraiya, who was originally excited, heard these three words, he felt as if he had eaten shit. But Orochimaru didn't react at all, it seemed like he acquiesced. Then let's get started. As he spoke, he cut his finger with a kunai, drew the blood on the other hand, and quickly formed a seal with both hands. Haigzu Yushinwei. Psychic technique. Bang! Huge white smoke quickly spread in the woods. Spread in the open space. The white smoke slowly disappeared, and the cocky giant python from before appeared in front of everyone. The cocky giant python that Orochimaru channeled was the same one from before. The hugs of several people were so thick, the snake's eyes were bigger than a human head, and it looked extremely terrifying. Orochimaru didn't feel anything at all. He jumped on the giant python's head first, and then waved to Tsunade and Jiraiya. Come up! Whoosh! Two figures jumped behind Orochimaru. Although this giant python is bigger than before and looks more terrifying, they have cooperated with Orochimaru for so long, so they will naturally not be afraid of snakes. Are you channeling this big snake again? Do you have enough chakra? I won't do anything I'm not sure about. Let's go, Xiao Huang. Okay, master. Rumble. Under the horrified gazes of Inyazuka's team and Uchiha-en, the giant python overwhelmed the weeds and branches around the clearing, and led Orochimaru and the three of them into the nearby woods. Well, don't worry about Xiao Huang. The name is just what Orochimaru called casually. Is this too exaggerated? Has this guy's chakra level reached this level? The Inyazuka team hiding nearby and the Uchiha-en team lying on the spot looked confused. They didn't understand what was going on at all. With such a big python, who can do it to an ordinary genin? This is what it is. Is he his true strength? Inyazuka and the others looked at each other again, and they all saw horror in each other's eyes. This guy is so scary. Yes. Inyazuka-su subconsciously glanced at Huangguan at his feet. The Inyazuka family is a ninja family that raises dogs and regards domesticated dogs as their best companions. Huangguan is a little yellow dog and his good partner. But now, his good friend is lying at his feet, trembling, and his body is clearly radiating fear. Seeing this scene, he quickly squatted down and patted the yellow dog's head with his hand to soothe its emotions. Oh, Su, look where they are going. After getting the scroll, of course I have to go to the central tower to complete the mission? To be honest, these three guys are really awesome. They completed the task of fighting for the scroll on the first day. Inyazuka-su exclaimed while comforting Huangmaru. You know, the Death Forest has a radius of 10 kilometers. It is not big or small. After entering here, you not only have to defend against the attacks of poisonous insects, but also have to protect yourself from poisonous insects. Be wary of possible enemies. Therefore, after candidates taking the exam generally come in, they will first find a place to hide. After making sure they are safe, they will then look for their target. And when looking for the target, they must first confirm the opponent's team with their strength. If they act rashly, they will easily be unable to defeat them. For example, when Orochimaru first entered the field, the three genin and now Uchiha-en. Seeing that Orochimaru and the others were young, they felt that they were easy to bully, and ended up. They were all on the street. One day was definitely not enough to hide, lock the target, and investigate in detail. Those who could complete this task in one day were those like Orochimaru, who could crush the entire crowd with their own strength. When you are strong enough, you are not afraid of encountering enemies at all. You only need to run rampant and push all the way. Therefore, seeing Orochimaru being so strong, Inyazukasu was a little scared, but also admired him from the bottom of his heart. Only then did Inyazukasu feel a little scared. He is a real strong man. Just hearing Inyazukasu's words, Hinata Raiwichi immediately rejected his answer. No, look at the direction the snake left. Direction? Inyazukasu was stunned for a moment. Yes, this direction is not to the central tower. In the Death Forest exam, there are 3 situations where you will be eliminated. The first type is the team that does not arrive at the central tower on time. The second type is the team that did not obtain a pair of Heaven and Earth scrolls. The third type is a team that has lost teammates or lost the ability to move. The forest center tower is a very large and wide pagoda. The bottom floor is extremely empty and is used for combat examinations for ninjas. There is a fence on the second floor of the tower, which is considered an audience seat. The competition time goes by day as everyone competes for the scrolls. Time quickly came to the last day. This morning, the third Hokage appeared at the bottom of the tower, listening to several examiners reporting to him the selection situation in the past few days. Behind him, there were several jounin of Konoha and Umbu hiding in the dark. Today is the 5th day. Are these 4 teams the only ones who have completed their mission? Looking at the 4 teams in front of him, the third Hokage was a little puzzled. Logically speaking, there are a total of 80 teams participating. If half of them are eliminated, there will still be 40 teams. Today is the 5th day, so there should be more than 20. Only once the team has passed the test. But now, not only are there only 4 teams here, but among these 4 teams, there are actually no 3 disciples of his own? This is not common sense at all. You know, he very much recognized the strength of Orochimaru and the others. Now these 3 people have not completed their mission yet. This made him, as the Hokage, a little embarrassed. Among the 4 teams, Heitake Sakumo's team was the first to complete the mission, arriving here the next day after entering the forest. Then came the Inyazuka team on the 3rd day, Nara Hackberry on the 4th day, and Retsu Uchiha who came this morning. After hearing the Hokage's question, the examiner said respectfully, "Yes, Hokage-sama, judging from the current situation, it is true that only these 4 teams have completed the mission. What about the other teams? Some of them lost their ability to move and were eliminated, and many more." Boom! Before the examiner finished speaking, there was a roar from the ground. What happened? This is enemy attack. Protect Lord Hokage. Whoosh! Suddenly 2 figures appeared in front of the third Hokage. The other 2 figures rushed out of the pagoda door to inquire about the situation. The examiners protected the candidates who participated in the Chunin selection behind them. "Help, just save your life." A ninja wearing a Konoha forehead protector fled in panic in the jungle. His face was covered with mud, and he looked a little panicked. Behind him, there was an cocky giant python, chasing him. "Hey, that's..." When the 2 Umbu came out of the tower door, they saw this scene. How could there be such a monster in the Death Forest? Let's deal with him. Wait, look at that snake head. One of the Umbu quickly stopped his companion. Hearing his companion's reminder, the man looked up. He saw a person lying on the snake's head. The 2 subconsciously glanced at each other, both looking at each other's eyes. "I saw horror in my eyes. Ha ha ha, why are you running? If you hand over the scroll, everything will be fine? Damn it, are you kidding me? Then take the plunge." Whoosh! Boom! 2 kunai with detonating talismans blocked his way. He couldn't react in time and was blown to pieces. Whoosh! One with a Konoha forehead protector and a white-haired the kid fell next to him, slowly took the scroll off his body, and hung it on his waist. A closer look revealed that there were almost 3 or 4 scrolls hanging on his waist. Hee, done. Oh, why did you catch up here? Looking at the central tower in front of him, as well as the third Hokage and others staring at him dumbfounded in front of the tower door. Jiraiya looked confused. But the Umbu who walked out of the tower door looked surprised. What's going on? Could it be that other people failed their missions because of them? Seeing Jiraiya and the giant python behind him, the third Hokage who had just walked out of the tower door was also stunned. But he reacted after a moment. Orochimaru? Is his chakra enough to channel a psychic beast of this level? Obviously, this snake is not a monster, but Orochimaru's psychic beast. They could have rushed to the central tower on the first day, but at Orochimaru's suggestion, they started their own experience journey. The content of the experience is to plunder as many other people's mission scrolls as possible within these 5 days. He is a little nervous about such an exciting proposal, and Jiraiya, who is not afraid of anything, naturally does not hesitate. Agreed. And Tsunade? She was originally a mischievous master, and now she claimed to be Orochimaru's girlfriend. It was impossible to refuse. So, a group of 3 people ran rampant in the forest of death, unscrupulously. There was Orochimaru with Maru's invisible fly detection and the shock of the psychic python. They only needed to consume very little chakra to find the enemy and defeat it. At first, there was a ninja team that tried to resist. But those who resisted as a result, apart from increasing the pain of the flesh, it has no effect at all. Because Heitake Sakumo's strength is far higher than that of the same level, he entered the tower early, did not meet Orochimaru, and did not know what was happening outside. As for the Nara Hackberry team and Inyazuka Su's team guessed Orochimaru's thoughts, so they found an opportunity to quickly seize a scroll and quickly entered the tower. As for the last team of Uchiharetsu, it was entirely based on their own luck. Because they had been in the jungle for 5 days and had not encountered Orochimaru's 3-man team. Now that they have arrived here, Orochimaru and the others cannot look back. As a result, the giant python disappeared, and Orochimaru and the other 2 arrived at the bottom of the central tower and stood side by side. The Umbu, examiners, and Heitake Sakumo took the exam around. Orochimaru looked indifferent, Jiraiya looked proud, and Tsunade smiled awkwardly. Looking at the 50 or 60 scrolls in front of him, the third Hokage twitched his lips. I thought these 3 people had killed themselves, but unexpectedly they turned out to have long faces. And he has such a big face. 50 or 60 scrolls, at least 10 should be grabbed a day. The expressions behind the masks of the Umbu are also extremely wonderful. It's incredible. He is indeed a disciple of Lord Hokage. It's really an exaggeration. In the general Choyunin exam, it is already very good if you can complete the task. Isn't this overfulfilling the task? Or is it so much more? They have never seen each other since the establishment of Konoha. Inyazuka Su and Nara Heikushu. The team seemed to have guessed this result a long time ago, but now that they saw it with their own eyes, they were still a little unbelievable. Fortunately, they realized it early, otherwise they would definitely follow in the footsteps of other teams. And Heitake Sakumo had a look on his face. They looked at Orochimaru and the other 3 in surprise. How could this Orochimaru be so strong? He actually robbed 50 or 60 teams by himself. Can it be more exaggerated? It has to be said that even Heitake Sakumo has never thought about this approach. And he simply couldn't do it. Of course, it's not that he's not strong enough, it's that he doesn't have enough chakra. You know, the chakra of ninjas is limited. At their current age, the amount of chakra can allow them to defeat 2 or 3 teams in a row, which is already very good. When chakra bottoms out, you must rest. And it takes at least 1 night to recover. But looking at the number of scrolls on the opponent's side, on average, at least 10 teams have to be robbed in a day. Grab 10 teams? Even if you only use taijutsu, it will slowly consume chakra. With the amount of chakra he has, Heitake Sashige really can't do that. Is it because there are powerful psychic beasts assisting in the battle that Chakra is saved? Thinking of this, Heitake Sakumo nodded thoughtfully. I have to say that Heitake Sakumo is really powerful. It only took a short time to think through Orochimaru's combat methods. Chu. Indeed, with Orochimaru's current amount of chakra, he is still unable to defeat more than 10 such teams in one day. After all, the ninja who can pass the previous assessment and enter the forest of death, even if he is not a Chunin, is far from a Chunin. It's not far away. Even if the strength of Orochimaru and the others can crush any team, their chakra amount is limited. Facing an opponent who is not weak, no matter how much they save chakra, the chakra will not be enough. What allowed them to achieve such achievements was the giant python that was channeled. This giant python is invincible in this forest of death where all genin are. Think about the original Konoha collapse battle. At that time, several huge flower pythons defeated Konoha. Therefore, with its existence, Orochimaru and the three of them can take turns to rest and use wheel fighting to defeat the enemy. And at night, its breath can even help everyone is shielded from the invasion of wild beasts. It can be said to be extremely convenient. Now that the whole story is clear, some of the incapacitated team were eliminated by Orochimaru and the other three. Others were unable to complete their tasks because they were attacked indiscriminately by these three people and took away the scrolls. The most important thing is that they not only grab scrolls, but also ninja tools. Originally, the mission elimination rate was as high as 50%, but at the end of the day, Orochimaru and the other three left many teams without scrolls. Then these teams without scrolls went to grab other people's. The competition among the others became more and more fierce, but no one dared to snatch Orochimaru and the others. In the end, Orochimaru had more and more scrolls, and everyone else had fewer and fewer scrolls. Now, there are only 7 or 8 pairs of scrolls left in the jungle, but nearly 70 teams are needed to grab them. Hokage-sama, this. The examiner looked at the scroll on the ground and then at the third Hokage next to him. He didn't know what to say for a moment. After overseeing so many Chunin selections, this was the first time he encountered this situation. A team of genin snatched most of all the scrolls. The third Hokage was dumbfounded now and glanced at the jounin and examiners around him. This incident is indeed a bit surprising, but I still want to ask, what do you think should be done? This, I think they can directly advance to Chunin without having to participate in subsequent selections. The one who spoke was a jounin named Yusha standing next to the Hokage. No need to take subsequent exams, can you be promoted directly? Indeed, what Orochimaru and the other three did, even if it was him, was nothing more than that. So he thinks there's nothing wrong with being promoted directly. It's really incredible that they can do this, so I agree with Yusha. An examiner also agreed. As an examiner, he naturally knew that Orochimaru and the three were only disciples of the Hokage. So whether it was because of the exaggerated performance of the three people or because of their status as disciples of the Hokage, he had no reason to refuse. What about you? The third Hokage looked at the other Jonin. The others looked at each other, and then nodded at the same time. Seconded. Seconded. Faced with the direct promotion of Orochimaru and the other three, no one had any objections. The Jonin, examiners, and fellow examines Sakumo Heitake and others were like this. There was no way, such a record was really a bit exaggerated. They were not convinced. No. So, with the unanimous consent of all the Jounin and examiners, the Chunin exams for Orochimaru and the three of them ended. Orochimaru and the other three had advanced to Chunin, and were not in a hurry to leave. Instead, they came to the second floor of the central tower to rest and watch the battle. Aha! Arriving on the second floor, Tsunade couldn't help but stretch her body. I didn't expect that after such a big fight, I would be treated like this. It's really surprising. Hehe, there is indeed something unexpected. It seems that the handsome Jiraiya-sama is indeed invincible. I am really too strong. Please, if the battle can be like this, Orochimaru's contribution is the greatest, what does it have to do with you? Tsunade continued to attack mercilessly. I'm not afraid to tell you the truth, with Orochimaru's current strength, coupled with the beauty of me, even with a pig, we can achieve such a record. What? You actually called me a pig? You admitted this yourself. I never said that. Damn it, you flat-chested woman. Jiraiya? You are looking for death. Look at the punches. Bang. Jiraiya was punched out by Tsunade before he could react. Seeing this scene, Orochimaru shook his head helplessly. The energy of these two people was really strong. They stayed in the forest of death for 4 days. Yet, still so energetic. Okay, Tsunade, stop making trouble, let's go over and sit down and take a rest. Okay, Orochimaru. After hearing Orochimaru's words, Tsunade immediately put on a smiling face, and happily and naturally took Orochimaru's arm. Like a young couple in love. It must be said that Tsunade has been violent since she was a child, but men friends seem to be an exception. But now, she seems to really regard him as her boyfriend, and the eyes she looks at Orochimaru are full of love and tenderness. Well. Although they are only 10 years old now. There were changes in the Chunin exam due to the troubles caused by Orochimaru and the other 3. After Orochimaru and the other 2 entered the rest area on the 2nd floor, other teams also arrived one after another. The 3rd Hokage was discussing with the examiners how to conduct the next selection. Because most of the scrolls went into the pockets of Orochimaru and the others, in the end, apart from Orochimaru and the others, only 12 teams at most could advance successfully. What they are studying is it necessary for these 12 teams to conduct the next round of selection? Because being able to grab a few scrolls from 70 teams is enough to illustrate their combat capabilities. Therefore, it seems that we can make an exception and let them advance directly. However, after the final discussion, they all agreed that the Chunin was going to the battlefield after all, so it couldn't be a trivial matter. If you want to advance to Chunin, you still have to look at their personal combat capabilities. As a result, these 12 teams still engaged in a 1v1 battle. Of course, Orochimaru and the other 2 didn't care about the Chunin exam. Anyway, their Chunin examination was over. The only thing that surprised Orochimaru was Uchiha Flame. I have to say that although the Uchiha clan has evil attributes, they really belong to a clan of geniuses. Their natural mental strength advantage allows them to learn ninjutsu and release ninjutsu much faster than their peers. There are a total of 4 Uchiha clan members participating in the selection this time: Uchiha Yan, Uchiha Chu, Uchiha Retsu, and Uchiha Ji. Except for Uchiha Shu, who failed to pass the Death Forest due to age issues, the other 3 people all advanced successfully. Yes, Uchiha N also successfully advanced. Even though Orochimaru robbed the scroll on the first day, he still successfully advanced. Even if a team member is injured, he can quickly adjust his condition and stand out among the 70 teams. This alone is enough to illustrate his talent. But for Uchiha N, the image of Orochimaru still left an indelible shadow in his heart. This guy not only killed his teammates instantly, but also tortured him with the Sharingan in a duel. Such a battle is definitely a blow to him who has always been proud and arrogant. As everyone competes, the Chunin exams are coming to an end. However, due to what Orochimaru and the other 3 had done before, very few people were promoted this time. Except for Heitake Sakumo and those members of a few big families, there were basically not many civilian ninjas left. Well, this was a somewhat failed Chunin selection exam. Hokage's office. The 3rd Hokage, who was wearing a divine robe, sat at his desk, resting his chin on his hands, looking at his 3 disciples calmly. Tell me, which one of you had the idea? Although the disciple is so awesome, and he is really proud of the 3rd Hokage, but one thing is that this approach is really a bit random. And he believes that one of the 3 people will definitely take the lead in such a random thing. It was my idea. Orochimaru admitted directly. Oh. After hearing Orochimaru's words, the 3rd Hokage had expected it, but he was still a little surprised. Because in his mind, Orochimaru has always been calm, so the most likely person to bring up this kind of thing is Jiraiya, followed by Tsunade. But when he thought about it carefully, it was wrong. Because Jiraiya and Tsunade's current strength is limited, they would not be allowed to do such an outrageous thing. Therefore, the most likely person to put forward this opinion is Orochimaru, and only it could be Orochimaru. But here comes the question again. Why would Orochimaru, who has always been calm, suddenly make such a suggestion? This is completely unreasonable. Thinking of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Orochimaru. Tell me your reasons, Orochimaru. The third Hokage looked slightly serious. Although you won't be punished for doing this kind of thing, you can't praise it either. Otherwise, they might do something else outrageous in the future. And as Hokage, he has the responsibility to figure out the whole story. Hearing Sarutobi Hiruzen's question, Orochimaru replied calmly, there's no big reason, it's just to test your limits. Limit? Sarutobi Hiruzen was stunned for a moment, then laughed, haha, I see, so how was your test? The opponent is too weak to detect. Orochimaru said the truth very calmly. Indeed, among the genin of this generation, except for Heitake Sakumo, no one is qualified to be the opponent of the three of them. Not Inyazuka's team, nor Nara's team. Even the members of the Hinata and Uchiha clans are still not enough. It's not that he is too arrogant, but it is the fact. Maybe Orochimaru can solve the Uchiha and Hinata clansmen one-on-one without opening the Sharingan. Troublesome. But it's just a little troublesome. With chakra volume, strength, speed, and various abilities overwhelming them, even if they have eye power, they can't make up for such a big gap. After all, not every family genin can. It's one of Konoha's 12 heroes. The enemy is too weak? Orochimaru's words also attracted the attention of Sarutobi Hiruzen. Haha, for you really can't find many decent opponents in the Chunin exam. However, speaking of this, I would like to ask you. Orochimaru, with your current amount of chakra, can you channel a psychic beast of that size? Yes, teacher. But I remember that I have been doing physical training. I know this, teacher. Jiraiya volunteered. He was already a talkative person, but he couldn't help but want to talk for a long time. The third Hokage was a little surprised. Oh? You know? So tell me. This guy said he was doing another experiment. Well, it was the same experiment as the previous recovery potion, but this time it could increase the amount of chakra, and it was still in the experimental stage. Well, teacher, don't you think this is very unfair? Fair enough, why do I work so hard? With the permission of the third Hokage, Jiraiya was talking alone, and Orochimaru and Tsunade did not stop him. The more this guy talks, the happier he gets. As he talked about how brave he was in this exam. However, the current third Hokage did not listen to a word of the following words because his attention was all focused on the words can increase the amount of chakra. Increase the amount of chakra? Increase the amount of chakra? Are you kidding me? How could a ninja's chakra amount increase that much? Is this kid Orochimaru secretly practicing alone? But it seems that neither Orochimaru nor Tsunade is there. If Leia, this doesn't look like a lie, right? Thinking of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen immediately made a decision. Tsunade, Jiraiya, you go down first. Well. Hearing that Sarutobi Hiruzen asked him to go down first, Jiraiya couldn't help but froze. Teacher, I haven't finished yet. Idiot. Just leave if I ask you to leave, why is there so much nonsense? Tsunade said, and once again grabbed Jiraiya's collar with disdain, and forced him out. How could this guy make a mistake at such a critical time? When he asked you to go down first, it was clear that he had something to say. Do you want to tell Orochimaru that you still want to leave? Watching the two of them close the door and leave, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Orochimaru again. As Orochimaru's teacher, he no longer knew that this was Orochimaru's first chapter. It has surprised him several times. Especially in the recent period, the surprises have come one after another. First, he developed a powerful recovery potion, then he defeated more than 50 teams in the Chunin exam, and now he can increase the amount of chakra. Scientific research results? Is this kid really only 10 years old? Orochimaru, is what Jiraiya said true? Yes, teacher. Orochimaru said calmly, but this project is still in the experimental stage. Since he uses Konoha's resources, he has to exchange some scientific research projects from time to time. Orochimaru thinks this is a matter of course. Of course, because the previous research and development of the recovery potion has been completed, it has not been completed until now. It's half a year, so Orochimaru doesn't plan to take it out yet. I'm just talking about the experimental stage of this thing. Anyway, he is the only one doing this experiment. How far the experiment will progress, is he not the one who has the final say? Hearing Orochimaru's words, Sarutobi Hiruzen was really surprised. Because he knew there was no need for Orochimaru to lie to him about this. But precisely because of this, it was even more incredible. Is his disciple really a monster, right? A person, 10 years old, how much chakra can it have? Under normal circumstances, as long as it is not a ninja with a special physique. It is already very good to be able to release a few sea-level ninjutsu. Like the 3 Jiraiyas, the amount of chakra is far beyond that of their age human. But even so, when Jiraiya was learning the art of channeling, Sarutobi Hiruzen also emphasized to him that he should strengthen his training and increase the amount of chakra. But Orochimaru's current age and situation. If how could it be possible to channel such a big snake without using any special method to increase the amount of chakra? You know, Orochimaru has never practiced to increase the amount of chakra. So, is Orochimaru really not lying? It's amazing even in the experimental stage. Sarutobi Hiruzen suppressed the surprise and calmness in his heart and said, but, are you experimenting with your own body? Sarutobi Hiruzen is very smart and quickly thought of the crux of the problem. If this thing is still in the experimental stage, then Orochimaru has increased the amount of chakras so much that he is clearly treating himself as an experimental subject. This is very important to him. It's a bit unacceptable. After all, Orochimaru is his most proud disciple. No suitable test subject. Orochimaru calmly told the truth. Although he was using system testing and these drugs did not require experimental subjects at all, what he said was indeed true. Because his scientific research projects all act on the human body, yes. The previous treatment potions could be tried on severely injured white mice, but the white mice could only see a rough idea of what changed the physique, and could not know the specific effects. Therefore, Orochimaru was not lying. It was just after hearing this, Hiruzen Sarutobi immediately stopped working. His disciple's fighting talent was so good, what if his body was destroyed because there was no suitable experimental subject? You are just messing around. Orochimaru, do you know what the consequences would be if this drug had any side effects? Sarutobi Hiruzen's tone was full of blame. After speaking, he continued to lecture Orochimaru. If this kind of drug that can change the body's constitution really has any side effects, it will be a devastating blow to the experimental subjects. It can range from rapid aging and lifelong disability to death from direct body explosion. Don't you want your life? Sarutobi Hiruzen said, somewhat hating that iron cannot become steel. If Orochimaru cripples himself because of experiments, it will be a great loss to Konoha. He believes this very much. I know, but I am still very confident in my research and there should be no problems. There is no way. It is true that he did not think carefully about this matter. He should not expose the problem of chakra volume in front of Tsunade before the time is ripe. You have to jump out of the hole you dug. So, face to face. Orochimaru could only nod in agreement with Sarutobi Hiruzen's various principles. There shouldn't be any problems. Sarutobi Hiruzen said angrily, if something goes wrong, it will be too late. Okay, you go down first. I want to consider this matter carefully, but you have to remember that you can't do experiments on yourself in the future, do you understand? Is teacher. Orochimaru nodded slightly and turned to leave. Seeing Orochimaru leave, Sarutobi Hiruzen thought for a moment, and then decisively convened a high-level meeting. As a result, the top management of Konoha was shocked again. Especially Danzo, everyone was confused. Orochimaru, this guy, is freak.